Red hot comic book movie news. Defenders of the Earth. Defenders. The Weekly Planet. The Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is I was clicking stop it.
Oh, okay. What do you want me to add?
Well, I don't want people to think that my clicking went out of rhythm because my clicking was good and you ruined it.
How about a bit of this?
That's more my speed. I like it. What?
Do the news.
Oh, okay. Where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday. With me as always, is the jazziest co-host, probably in this room.
That's
Nick
right.
Mason.
You want me to walk out some news with the bass?
Please.
Boom, boom, ba-doof. It's jazz time on the podcast, folks.
You one of those guys who can do two instruments at once with the mouth? Or whatever?
No, not even one at
You're
all.
no Joel Turner.
That's right. Good
There's
reference.
Thank you.
Now, in weeks past, James, you've been like, that reference is too local. That's too local. That's like a 2004 like Australian Idol reference or something. That's too local.
It is too local, but I don't regret it. Because I want people to know all of our Aussie larrikins and legends, Mason.
All our culture.
Exactly, all of our culture, yeah. So, Mason, this
Anyway,
week...
it's great to be here. Hey, speaking of this week,
What?
it's great to be here, but it was also great to be on the Lawmen podcast.
Oh my God, were you on a podcast?
No, it wasn't a podcast. So some time ago, I recommended a podcast that I enjoy listening to when I'm walking to and from work.
Yeah.
It's called the Lawmen podcast.
That's the only time, is it?
That's a good time to, take in the sights and listen to a podcast.
I'm glad.
Same sights every time. There's a shop,
Yeah.
There's a shop I walk past.
There's that
probably
shop.
Probably walk past that later
Yeah.
on the way back.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a podcast all about local legends and folklore
Am I
from
on
days
there?
of yore. You're not on there.
Oh.
Oh, I see what you're saying there, right?
Thank you.
No, if they were
You know, because I'm a weird freak.
if they're going to mention any local legend, it would be
I
Joel.
live in the
It'd be
woods.
Joel Turner. It'd be Joel Turner, obviously, and his modern day poets. But it's about local legends, specifically, sort of, a lot of English folklore and ghosts
Yes.
and goblins and ghouls and headless horsemen and all that sort of stuff. And I find it absolutely delightful.
Great.
So James Shakeshaft, who's one half of the podcast, reached out and said, do you want to be on the podcast? And I said yes. And it's taken me a long time to get organised so we can do the podcast.
I hear you, man.
But I went on James and Alistair Beckett-King, and James told us all about some spooky tales of the town of Northampton, which is, of course, most famous for being where Alan Moore is from.
That's right.
They
Is
should
it
call
all-
it Morethampton.
That's great. That's good.
You're very welcome.
That's
fresh content, by the way. I didn't say that on the podcast.
Really?
I didn't think of it till like a week later.
Is it too late?
It is too like maybe.
Yeah.
Good email.
So are you? So what's the thing in Northampton?
Spooky geese.
You could have said regular geese, and that's fine.
Not spooky geese.
Okay, well that's great.
Yeah. And I had a good old time, so people should listen to that, I reckon.
I will.
I can't listen to it, obviously, because I was on it.
Yeah,
And I can't listen back. So if everybody else could listen in my place,
it's illegal for you
it
to
would be
listen to
illegal.
That's
right.
why I got Collings to start editing these.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
right.
every time I listened to it, the police would turn up.
That's right.
Yeah. That's great.
What are you
Mason.
listening to, they'd say. And you'd go, The Weekly Plan. And they're like, we haven't heard of that.
Joel Turner.
Well, we've heard of that. We are perpetually stuck in 2004. Our musical taste is stuck in 2004.
So as is mine. Now, Mason, this week we've got two great movies to talk about, equally great.
Love it. Tom York is also from Northampton.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Great.
from Radiohead.
Oh, I thought he was like a friend of yours.
No.
No, because it just sounds so generic as of a name and probably person.
Wow.
Probably just looks like a tadpole that somebody's drawn a face on, I reckon. No?
Wow.
No?
Can't believe you don't love Radiohead.
I heard.
Even after all of my insistence that you do love Radiohead.
You said he looks like discount Chris Martin.
I did not say that.
You did say that, and he's not as good as Chris Martin. That's what you said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't know because I've never heard them.
I said Radiohead is home brand Coldplay is what I said. You're twisting my words.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about the movie 65 and Scream 6,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty exciting. But of course, we've got some news up top
Ooh.
leading up to that, which will be time coded below, including James Gunn directing Superman confirmed.
Oh, James Gunn certainly reading something. Was he watching something this week?
Had a Superman comic or book or something or mug.
He did that, but he also, I believe, he's posted a photo of himself watching maybe the Richard Donner cut.
Oh, he did the
Superman
Donner cut.
2,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The MCU has got its first solely created superhero outside of the comics, apparently.
Oh, and
Which I
outside
don't
of Agent Coulson.
Yeah, that's my example of I don't know if that's strictly true, Mason, but we'll talk about it. And then we've got to talk about the Disney's Thursday presentation call for Morgan Stanley 2023's Technology, Media and Telecom Conference.
I love that.
Where Bob Iger talks about some Star Wars stuff or whatever.
Who's the Embracer Group? That's what I'm thinking of. That's big Embracer Group vibes.
One of our favorites. John Bernthal is back, but as the Punisher.
Oh, just not in life.
No.
Hey, everybody, I'm back. I left my wallet at this cafe. I'm back, though. John Bernthal's back.
We're also going to talk about a trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
That's right.
Then we're going to talk about a Zorro remake. Then some Warner Brothers stuff in relation to the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Then Batman animated news. And then something leaked at Warner Brothers. And then we're going to briefly talk about Bigger Joker. And then we're going to talk about Patty Jenkins.
I was confused for a moment, but I know what you mean by Bigger Joker.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins, Rogue Squadron thing. And we've got some Red Dwarf news.
Yeah, that's right.
In the
maybe that'll
in the
be my
letters.
one bit of news.
Let's save it for then.
Okay.
Anyways, Mason, this first bit of news, I know we talked about James Gunn specifically watching Superman, etc. But Comic Pop, the YouTube channel, well, there's two channels.
Oh, yes.
So there's Comic Pop and Comic Pop Returns, and both are amazing. Sal runs them with Tiffany. It's incredible. There's two other guys on there. What are their names?
I don't know.
Incredible.
Is this a test?
Yeah, it's Ethan and Ben.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
You going to edit around that or?
No.
Terrific.
That was embarrassing for you. I knew it was a test for you.
Okay, right.
I watch their stuff all the time. Anyway, Sal is great. And he also accidentally broke a scoop and then had to remove the video.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
basically, he was speaking to Tom King, famous comic book creator. And Tom King, he was asking about, like, what's the creative process for the DCU and the writer's room and all of that.
see.
And he just straight up confirmed that James Gunn will write and direct the Superman movie.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't take that pee out of the pool, can you?
Well, no, he did remove the video.
Yes.
I spoke to him about it, be like, can I talk about this? And he was like, yeah,
What is he going to
absolutely.
remove everybody's eyes and memories?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't do it, can you?
Superman can with a big kiss.
Now, does this suggest that perhaps Tom King was not supposed to say that? Okay.
Exactly.
Do you think he's fired from something?
Yeah, he's fired
Maybe
from all
everything.
things.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he just finished Human Target, so
Exactly, and that's great.
that's great.
So yeah, but I just want to quickly say, like, if you want like incredible interviews with a bunch of comic creators, he's done multiple ones with like Mark Waid, Patton Oswalt's in there, Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo, the recent one as mentioned with Tom King, which is going up again later. He's editing that bit out, but it's going up later this week. If you want like
There'll be a title card that says, we edited out the bit where Tom King said that James Gunn is writing and directing the Superman movie. We edited it out for legal reasons and because we didn't want to embarrass Tom King.
So yeah, Comic Pop and Comic Pop Returns well worth a look, Mason.
Oh, yes.
So there you go. I'm happy with that. James Gunn, I think, has got a really good track record, and there's no reason for me to think he won't make a good Superman movie unless he doesn't, in which case I knew it.
Now, here's a question.
Yeah.
How does Tom King know that he's writing and directing?
Because he's involved in... Well, he wrote Superman, Woman of Tomorrow. No, he didn't. He
He didn't write Superman, Woman of Tomorrow. That doesn't even make sense.
No, what's the thing that he wrote?
He wrote Superman Up in the Sky.
Yeah, he wrote that.
Okay,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
just... I think he's just... he's involved. He's in the zeitgeist.
It's just not... I don't know if he's in the zeitgeist.
I think he's in the area.
What do you think a zeitgeist is?
What do you think it is? I'll tell you if you're right.
Let's do a little standoff here.
Okay.
Or we both...
Why don't we wait till the end of the show?
And then reveal what we both think the
And
zeitgeist
neither
is.
of us will Google it quickly.
Okay.
Mason, so here's something
It's a big suit. It's like the mask wears.
Yeah.
He wears that big zeitgeist.
There's a big zeitgeist,
It's
yeah.
yellow stuff.
Well, that's what I think
Big
also.
hat with a
I
feather in it.
I didn't even have to
Big
Google
watch
it.
chain and
Yeah.
two-tone shoes. This is zeitgeist.
I agree. Mason,
It's smoking.
it is smoking.
Yeah.
Bad movie, though. Mason,
Disagree.
Here's some MCU
I love that,
news. Yeah. They are going to release its first solely created superhero. Now, as in, this is a character made exclusively for the MCU. This is a character called Kahori.
Probably like Marvel Snap.
Probably like Marvel Snap, yeah.
Probably full Marvel
Yeah,
Snap. Yeah.
it is. It's just a pack of cards. They're going
Oh.
to look at all these Marvel Snap characters that we've given gems to for this game.
Terrific. I
People
love it.
like it.
They like
People
it.
like the game.
I agree.
I've had opportunities to promote it, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I think it's
We can
choked
tell you what it is.
with Go on. We, as in me and you.
No, I'm in the character of Marvel.
Oh, yeah,
They're like,
okay.
we can tell you.
Oh, we can tell.
And would give you money and also would...
Yeah, I mean, that's all good. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've kind of dropped off a lot of the YouTube commercial ads because it's just a fucking hassle, to be honest. Just going back and forth with a marketing agency, and they're like, can you say this? Hey, you know how we said to say this? Say this. And I'm just like, I'm just not, no. I'm not going to do this anymore. Go to Big Sandwich. Sign up there, and I'll stop doing ads on YouTube.
So Marvel, presumably at this point, is caved and they're giving us $9 a month.
That's right.
Okay. Well, he said it. All right.
Yeah. Anyways, this character of Kahori, I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly, but it's going to be introduced. She's going to be introduced in What If?
I see.
And this episode asks the question, what would happen if the Tesseract fell to Earth and landed in the Sovereign? I cannot say this word, but it's...
Spin it around. I'll have a look. With utmost confidence, I'll say it.
Yeah, you say it.
I've made a horrible mistake here.
No, you have to do it now.
Okay. How Dinosaur Confederacy.
That is very disrespectful. I would never have done that, obviously. Before the colonization of America, and the Tesseract takes on a new life and a new mythology, transforming a lake into a gateway to the stars and leading Kahori, a young Mohawk woman, on a quest to discover her power. So this is an episode written by Ryan Little, and the character is developed in close collaboration with members of the Mohawk Nation like historian Doug George and language expert Cecilia King. So there you go.
Exciting. So the character design looks cool.
Looks good, doesn't it? I think it's Amber Midthunder.
From the movie Prey.
Prey is voicing it. I think I saw that. If not,
well, and people.
If not, I'm wrong.
Immediately upon seeing Prey, they were like, "Why don't they get her in the MCU?" And people were like, "She's already done a Marvel thing," and they're like, "Just do another thing.
Do a second thing.
Do a second thing."
So this is a character I could imagine if they've cast her could jump over to live action if need be. Which is the only thing that counts.
It's true.
It's the only real and good thing in my life, Mason. MCU content.
Yes.
Speaking of.
Go on.
This comes via Disney's Thursday presentation at Morgan Stanley's 2023 Technology... damn it. I fucked it up again, Mason.
Well, they expect that, so you have to say it over and over again.
You're right.
And it gets embedded in our minds. We go something, Marvel, Morgan Stanley, something.
It's in the zeitgeist.
It's in the zeitgeist, that's right. Bob Iger came out in a leopard print suit.
This comes via Disney's Thursday presentation at Morgan Stanley's 2023...
His financials are smoking, he said.
Thank you, because that could be a chance to take a breath. Technology, Media and Telecom Conference. So Bob Iger was talking about the future of Marvel and specifically Star Wars, but just Marvel. He said, Marvel, there were 7,000 characters. There are a lot more stories to tell. What we have to do is look at Marvel. Marvel is not necessarily the volume of storytelling, but how many times we go back to the well on certain characters.
What if it was like, listen, it's the volume of storytelling.
How many stories can we tell?
Quality irrelevant. We're just going to, just an absolute barrage.
Waterboard of
just an
stories.
Just an absolute unending torture of bad. We're going to get the AI to write it.
They should change it to MCUGB, Marvel Cinematic Universe,
of Great
Guantanamo
Britain.
Bay.
Oh. Same thing, am I right?
Because of the torture. Whoa! He'll say anything.
I'll say anything.
Anyway, he said, sequels typically work well for us, but do you need a third or fourth, or is it time to turn to other characters? So that's the first part. Presumably, do you reckon that could be like Thor-related? Like,
Could be Thor-related.
Could be Ant-Man related?
It is 100% Ant-Man related.
Ant-Man, what have you done?
Here's the thing also. He also said Solo's disappointing box office gave us pause on Star Wars. We're being very careful there. Is this the same?
Yeah. Well,
it is the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media and Telecom Conference, which is interesting. Maybe the cadence was a little too aggressive. We're going to make sure when we make one, it's the right one. So we're going to be very careful there. I mean, sure, but it's interesting. He's gone back.
It was like 5 years ago.
He's gone. It's interesting. He's gone back to Solo and not Rise of Skywalker, which I think is much worse.
I completely agree.
And also, the reason that I think maybe the reason he's looking at Solo as the big loss is because it costs so much to make, but it costs so much to make because they filmed it twice.
Yeah, well, exactly. But if you look at like the ill will that people have towards Star Wars, and it's not everybody. For example, I live for live action Star Wars content. I don't know if you know that, Mason. It's the only thing that's important in my life. I don't know if you know that,
I'm
Mason.
very aware.
A different brand's in front of me, and this is the one I like.
That's right.
Is that people like it's the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
And I like The Last Jedi, but and the people's also perception of that. It's not Solo. Solo came and went.
Yeah.
People don't think about it.
Yeah, and yet he's chosen to put it in here.
Yeah, because you're right. It's the money thing.
But is it also because they don't want to admit their most recent thing was bad?
Well,
most recent-ish thing was bad.
We should tell them. We should jump in on the call.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Iger. Dad, you would say.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this then, because things were in the middle of it. Because Variety are reporting that both Patty Jenkins's Rogue Squadron movie and Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, they're not in active development. But Taika Waititi's is still in development, and he's going to take on a role similar in prominence to what he played when he played Hitler.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, in the movie where he played Hitler.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, I mean,
the Patty Jenkins thing is not surprising.
I think they just forgot they cancelled it. They were like, we're going to announce something. We cancel a bunch of stuff, but it's like when you leave your house and you're like, did I forget one thing?
Yeah.
They're like, we forgot to say we're going to cancel that thing.
We should have cancelled it.
We cancelled it a long time ago, technically.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's exciting, isn't it?
Very exciting.
It's interesting that the Taika Waititi one is staying. Like, why the Kevin Feige one? Is it because he's too busy with the Marvel stuff that's happening?
It must be, right?
Yeah.
Unless this is Ant-Man, Quantumania, like
maybe it is.
Maybe the
You're on thin ice, Feige.
Maybe the thin ice that every other creator has been dumped onto in the past with regards Star Wars stuff has finally made its way up to Feige.
I think it's very possible that what they've done, he's come back in because he's back, your dad. He's not at as many family dinners because he's doing this. He's sorting brands, and I love that about him.
I love it also. I love this bit. It's not as fruitful for comedy, I think, as maybe we initially thought it would be.
Oh, really?
When we...
I disagree.
Okay.
I reckon we could just keep doing it forever.
I think so too.
Yeah. But
it's no skin off my bloody nose. I'll do it. I don't care.
He probably looked at the scope of what everything was happening and went, is the best use of Kevin Feige to do a Star Wars thing or to kind of write the Marvel ship and like streamline all their stories so there's not a new Marvel thing every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe it's just a sign of maybe they're doing clean slate Star Wars. I know there's been talk that maybe Kathleen Kennedy will leave soon, which wouldn't surprise me because it's been 10 plus years now since she's taken over. So she probably will step down in the next year or couple years.
They're probably like, we'll give you a huge payout.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
You take it, you take your 10
but
years.
But you need it. I mean, you know.
She's probably up for long service leave.
No doubt.
Take 3 months off.
That's right.
Or 6 months on half pay, you know.
Maybe do a Kentucky tour.
Maybe do a little Kentucky tour, sure.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not surprised by cancelling of Star Wars and look forward to more of it in the near future, Mason.
Because that's what you like. The one thing you like the most is cancelling Star Wars stuff.
I kind of do,
It's what
Mason.
you live for. It's what you love.
I love whatever brand is in front of me and whatever they're doing with it.
But the surprising thing, I think, is maybe the Taika Waititi thing. Still creating. He's going to be in it also.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So, you know, yeah. I think he could make a great Star Wars movie or whatever it is.
Sure.
Could be a mobile game.
Yeah. And also, I'm not as invested in Star Wars as I am Marvel stuff. So if it turns out to be awful, no skin off my bloody nose, I tell you that much.
That's true. Look, I think he's generally like a great director. And I know we didn't love Thor Love and Thunder. You loved it.
I didn't like it at all. I thought it was awful.
But I think pretty much like most of his other stuff, I thought is like good and above, you know? So,
But I feel like the scuttlebutt is he's succumbed to some sort of Hollywood madness.
Okay.
Don't you feel that way?
Wait, is that something you think or just the scuttlebutt?
I think the internet thinks that. I think the internet is like, he's gone Hollywood mad.
I thought he'd be too old to succumb to Hollywood madness, but I guess it can affect anybody.
I think he's just like, well, maybe this is my only chance to have Hollywood madness.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I better, you know.
I don't think if I was in Hollywood, I don't think I'd take advantage of Hollywood madness.
No, you simply wouldn't.
I'm weak like that, Mason. You know? I just don't think I could lean into it.
Oh, you think it's not so much that you were so strong-willed you wouldn't. It's just they'd be like, hey, you want to come out and party? There's going to be drugs. And you'd be like, oh, man.
Yeah. Call my kids in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because of time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't want to do big drugs with you.
I also don't want to do brunch because brunch is too early.
Yeah.
I'll do lunch maybe because I got to drive all the way out there.
Yeah.
Actually, that's my whole day because I have to drive back as well.
LA traffic and I don't know. It's the wrong side of the road here for me. No, thank you. No Hollywood madness for me. Anyways, let's get back to this investor call, which you love.
I love it.
There's nothing this is Bob Iger continuing, who's your dad.
Yep, good stuff.
There's nothing
really
in any way inherently off in terms of Marvel's brand. Do you think that's true? I think it's like the amount is off.
It's the amounts, and I was thinking about this week. I feel like the things that sort of cemented Marvel as a kind of a brand that people really love is kind of the same thing that's dragging it down now.
What's that?
Like
when everyone goes, "Whoa, what happened?"
Well, yeah, that just happened exactly. Like I feel like it was what tipped Marvel over the line. I think initially to mainstream audiences, like not like niche comic book audiences, was the fact that they were kind of quippy and a little bit disdainful of the whole situation.
And they'd look at something and go, "That's dumb, but I'm going to do it."
Well, exactly. Like in the Avengers, when if you jumped on the MCU with the Avengers, you'd not seen it before.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Thor is there with his cape and his hammer and his maybe his little hat or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is ridiculous. And then Iron Man's like, oh, does
Point
Mother...
Break and
what is it?
whatever.
Yeah, no, like, does Mother know you weareth her drapes or whatever?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, I knew it. It does look stupid.
Oh,
and
that's
the cool
right.
guy in the movie said it's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm on board with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think now the constant what's the word?
Referential.
Yes, the constant self-referential zeitgeist, exactly.
It's in
that's
the
right.
ether.
It is in the ether, I'll tell you that much. But I think maybe
That was one of the gems. Go on, though. Go on.
I think that's maybe hamstringing a little at this point.
Yeah,
People
hamstrung.
like you will be like Hemsworth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you would.
We're free associating.
Yep.
He's got hamstrings.
Hamstrung.
Yeah.
So go on, yeah.
Liam Hemstrung. But I think it's that, it's people like, maybe could we be a little bit more sincere? Like, the like Top Gun, for example. That's done huge numbers. Avatar's done huge numbers. They're very sincere. They're jokey sometimes, but they're...
So you think the tone needs to shift?
Maybe they need to change this tone somehow.
I think-
like there might have to be a gradual shift.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe you're right. I think this idea that he's talked about earlier where sequels, like maybe it's not a good idea to go back third and fourth time. I think that's absolutely okay because I think one of the strengths of the leading up to the end of phase, whatever
we're in now.
whatever happened, we had a pretty clear indication of who were the main players are.
That's true.
And even this far into this latest phase, who's in charge?
Kang
Yeah, I guess, but like...
and Kevin Feige.
Yeah, but they so I think, like they kind of built that whole movie around Kang and this is the new threat and whatever. And I don't know whether that fully like comes together at the end, but the marketing the selling point of that movie was this big thing is coming, and then at the end it's like, okay, is it? I guess. And then it's like...
But in a way, it was a very little thing.
Well, very good. But then they're like, well, Brie Larson, who's in charge? Is it Brie Larson and Benedict Cumberbatch? Is it the Hulk?
Oh, like
still?
who's even on the Avengers anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Like Captain America's gone, which is fine. I don't mind either. He's gone. Iron Man's gone. Chadwick Boseman is dead. Scarlett Johansson has stepped away. Like Thor's around, I guess, but he's not like in charge because he's a goose.
Some of the Guardians are going to die because their contracts have expired.
That's right, exactly.
You're absolutely right.
So, and I think that can all be resolved when you bring out an Avengers movie and you put Tom Holland in the front and he goes, "I'm the boss," and and then but
yeah, you sure are slugger.
Yeah, it's not that I don't enjoy like all of these characters because most of them, I would even say all of them, like I do, but I do feel like that. You need sequels and like to cross pollinate,
absolutely,
to kind of know what is it? Yeah,
I reckon Midnight Suns. Wong is the leader.
Cool.
Yeah,
love that.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah. Anyway, the rest of this quote.
Yes.
I think we're having
from the earnings call.
Yes.
The Morgan Stanley earnings call.
Yes. I think we have to look at what characters or stories we're mining, and if you look at the trajectory of Marvel over the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of newness. We're going to turn back to the Avengers franchise, but with a whole different set of Avengers. And this I don't even mind. But also, that's not true necessarily because, like, you've got Hemsworth, you've got Ruffalo, you've got Captain Marvel. These are characters from like previous generations of whatever. So I don't know.
I also don't know.
Vision?
Don't know.
Where's he? I don't know.
Where is Vision? Where's their vision?
Great.
For the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the future.
Just less stuff is fine. Just less stuff. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I think you'll have bigger returns. I found that with my YouTube channel. I'm just like, I'm not going to do trailer breakdowns every week. I'm just going to be like,
you got way more comments of people
Supergirl.
going, where's your trailer breakdowns?
I didn't get that
Where
many.
are they? Well, look forward to them. I've bought some bots.
That's right. Anyways, let's move it along to more MCU stuff.
All right.
John Bernthal will play the Punisher again in Daredevil Born Again. Did you know that?
I did know that, actually. Yeah.
Well,
good. Love it.
So
how's the MCU Punisher going to be in terms of,
what does he do?
What does he do?
Yeah. It's going to be 18 episodes. It's going to be next year. And apparently Deborah Ann Woll and Alden Henson as Karen Page and Foggy Nelson will not be returning.
Now, is that true, or is it simply that they were not on the released, like the call sheets that we'd seen?
Well, that's a great point. I probably got clickbaited.
You might have got clickbaited. Well, that's what I wanted because it didn't say, nobody involved in Marvel specifically said they will not be back as far as I know. It's just we got some... I think maybe some leaked call sheets or something like that, and Bernthal was on there, but they weren't. So it's like maybe...
Who's to blame for this?
That's a great question. Feige, I guess.
Daredevil, I'll put him in the Avengers. That's a good... That's a character.
That's a character. That is... Oh, that's a character.
But that's what I mean. Like, there are a bunch of characters in this where it's like you could easily build an Avengers team and then some out of this and just kill half.
Yeah.
And then, which they
knock
did.
them right off.
They did in the previous movie.
But for reals.
Yeah, but for real. But like, there's plenty here, but what does that look like? Like, who's... And I guess they're building to it. Anyway, as long as there's infinite movies.
As long as there's infinite movies, right?
Yeah, that's right. Trailers are fine.
Beautiful.
Oh, Daredevil, good. Punisher, good.
Yeah, I'm very curious in, a character who is, his signature extreme violence. What are they going to do with it in the MCU?
More
They're gonna
violence.
You think more violence?
I could pair him up with I know he's going to be with Daredevil, but pair him up with someone you wouldn't. Like put him with Thor or Doctor Strange. That's happening in the comics. So they have a cool, weird interdimensional story together.
Yeah. Team him up with Flash Thompson.
Yep.
MCU Flash Thompson.
Team him up with Groot.
Nice.
Baby Groot. Because that's cute.
Got to keep him in his
Team him
little
up
pocket.
with Grogu. Something to think about.
That is something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trailers ahoy!
Team him up with Yaddle.
Yaddle's dead, Mason.
What?
Yeah. She got squashed by a door or something.
What?
Yeah, Duke killed her or something.
What? What is this
It
from?
happened in Tales of the Jedi. You watched it.
Did I?
Yeah, I think we did an episode on it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be dead anyway. It was a long time ago.
It was a long
Galaxy
time
far,
ago.
far
Well,
away.
Yoda's 900. Maybe Yaddle was 12. No, that is because then she'd be Grogu. She couldn't. I don't know. Anyway, the important thing is the trailers ahoy.
Honk.
This is for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Looks super cool.
It does look super cool, Mason. I like the designs. People have questions though. Like, why does Michelangelo had braces? Who did that? Probably Donatello, I'd imagine.
Probably a backstreet dentist.
Backstreet dentist.
Exactly.
All right.
Sure.
I like the aesthetic. I know the comparison is like Spider-Verse, but I think it does feel its own kind of style. But what I like about Spider-Verse, and we're now seeing the result of that, is they're trying like different techniques and brush strokes, Mason.
Yes.
I think we're getting some really interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Like
this feels
Puss in
like
Boots.
Yeah,
looks really
yeah.
cool.
This feels like a heavier, like a more inked aesthetic than the Spider-Verse stuff. Like just very kind of grounded and earthy, which I thought was cool. Very, very dirty New York.
Love a dirty New
was
York.
cool, yeah.
And the actual teenagers, they cast like kids because they're like 14 in this.
Yeah.
I know some people are unhappy with the April redesign, but who gives a shit, quite frankly.
Also,
every iteration of the Turtles is different.
Yeah. And also April O'Neil in the comic books has been a bunch of different races.
Absolutely.
Because there was some disagreement among the creators about what race she was. So she was drawn as white and black and Asian. And so canonically, it's fine.
Yeah. People just want to see the yellow jumpsuit and the red hair.
We've
really.
seen it. We've seen it every.
We've seen it.
Seen it all the
and you'll
time.
see it again.
You will see it again, exactly.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But no, I'm there's one person who's really excited for this, Mason. It's my son. He's very excited. He's a big TMNT fan.
So you're gonna withhold it for punishment.
Yeah, I'm gonna make him watch the bad version.
Great.
Which is the original series plus past series 1. And then I'll shock him with the original movie.
That's right.
A bunch of foot soldiers, also known as teenagers, get murdered by the turtles.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then Raphael gets like dropped through that skylight. And
He's nearly ready for it. He's nearly ready for it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Drop him through a skylight.
Oh what? No, don't do that.
No?
That's actually criminal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, Mason, I've been in trouble before for editing this podcast. I think
true.
I'll be all right. No, don't drop your kids through a skylight, everybody. Mason, this is my deadline. Game of Thrones.
That felt like you were reading from a prepared statement.
I am. Mason,
Yes.
we're in serious legal trouble. It's my deadline. Game of Thrones scribe Brian Cogman.
Fake name.
No, real man.
Huh, interesting.
I thought you were going to say, what did you do, Cogman, from the Transformers?
I don't remember anything I said.
We did Transformers.
Yeah, no, I
doesn't
remember.
matter. So anyway, he's been tapped to serve as the showrunner for Disney Plus's upcoming Zorro remake with Wilmer Valderrama attached to the titular role.
That's from that 70s show.
Is that 70s show? Yeah. Here's the thing about that guy.
Go on.
Some pretty fucking weird stuff. Just have a look through his Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I love everything about this except for him. I'm like, why is it this guy?
Yeah, some
He's
real
dated some very young people.
some
and said
real rough
pretty-
stuff coming out of that
Yeah.
70s show.
Yeah. And there's rougher stuff than this.
Yeah.
Than this guy. But I wish it wasn't him.
There you go. Well, too bad.
Because I fucking love Zorro Mason.
You could unearth some rough stuff and
Get him cancelled.
get him cancelled.
Look, people know, Mason. People know, and we'll just see, won't we?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I don't think we'll have to do anything really, I think.
Yeah.
Let the chips fall where they may,
That's
I think.
right. But man, more Zorro. Yes, please. Love Zorro. I would love another Antonio Banderas movie, obviously. But I'll take any Zorro we can get, man. Love Zorro. love when Zorro was a cat. And that's what it is.
Do you think so? Puss in Boots, do you think rekindled your love for Zorro as a character?
Mason, I always loved Zorro.
Okay.
I never not loved Zorro.
Okay.
And I love Zorro more than I love the cat. Because a cat, it's a cat.
Wow.
And cats, to me, animals are not as sexy as Zorro is. You might think the opposite. That's not what I feel or think. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
How many cats would you kill for a new Zorro
How
project?
many?
How many? Yeah.
How many could you get?
I mean, I guess we could wander around afterwards and.
I'm not wandering around for cats.
Okay.
I'm not stalking cats, Mason. If you get the cats to me, I'll kill them, all right?
Okay, great. All right, good. Appreciate that commitment.
This news
Oh yeah.
in relation to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is via Jason Schreier, who's a very reputable source in terms of video game journalism.
Terrific. Specifically, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League news.
That's
I
right.
would assume.
I love this news. Warner Brothers and Rocksteady have delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League once again from May to later this year, according to a person familiar. A showcase of the game during a PlayStation stream last month was poorly received by fans. This delay also moves Suicide Squad out of the crowded release window that currently includes Zelda, Diablo, and Final Fantasy games. For what it's worth, a delay like this is mainly for polish, not to overhaul the core gameplay that caused the backlash. Suicide Squad started off as a games as a service and will remain one short of a complete reboot, which would require a much longer delay. So there's all that. So so initially you're like, okay, so they're going to polish this game and put this thing out choked with garbage.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
That's what we live for
Just
here.
delay the inevitable for this thing that everyone fucking hates. Again, no shade to the people who made it. Clearly Warner Brothers went, make the worst thing that you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, but Jeff Grubb, who's another video game.
Why break our streak? Let's just make the worst things we can and see how many we can cancel.
And then dissolve the studio, and fire a bunch of people.
Oh, did you see that they someone leaked a Scooby-Doo project?
We'll talk about that, Mason.
Okay.
Don't even worry about that.
Great.
But Jeff Grubb, though, another journalist, said this is actually potentially delayed till 2024. And as I said, I hope, and I don't even know if this is possible, that they just strip all the fucking dreck out of it. This looter shooter online forever, 7 different forms of currency fucking nonsense. No.
I hope they add an extra currency.
Real money.
Yeah, real, that's right.
Put money into your PlayStation 5.
Yes.
And then mail it to us. Yeah. God. This is...
Yeah, do you think they could... You think they could do a full removal of all this stuff?
No.
Okay.
No, I think they could probably remove it, but then that's bad, and it takes years to fix. We saw the same thing with Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the first one, the second one.
Oh, yeah.
They released that way, and then for years they just chipped away at it until they fixed it. And by all accounts, it's a very competent and good game now.
Great.
Which is great. But also, maybe just release a game that people like. We've still got this Wonder Woman single-player game, I think, that's coming, which uses you make an enemy system.
That's right.
And all of that. So we'll see, won't we? But
so which company, Warner Brothers made that system? They invented it.
yeah.
The Nemesis system.
Whoever.
Okay, because they've copyrighted it, so nobody else can
just
use
theirs,
it. Okay,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, great.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I agree. Might be out of copyright soon, but I don't know. Mason, this is via THR. After Warner Brothers Discovery scrapped Batman Caped Crusader, that was the animated series with J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and Bruce Timm.
That's right, Big Ears Batman.
That's right,
what they
Big
call
Ears
him.
Batman. Don't make fun of my big ears. Don't. Why are you doing that?
A decidedly different origin story.
Yes.
Criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot, and they make fun of my big ears.
But they're afraid of him. That's what I think. That's why they really make fun of me.
Hope nothing comes through the window. Oh, it's a bat with big ears.
That does look kind of funny.
That's funny. I'm Batman now.
I like the way it cut itself on the glass.
I'm Big Ears Batman. Where are the drugs? I'm Big Ears Batman. Where's Rachel? I'm Big Ears Batman.
Swear to me.
Harvey Dent, no.
Swear to me, Big Ears Batman.
I'll hear it. You'll never guess how. It's in my big ears. I like this guy.
I love Big Ears Batman.
Me too.
It changes his whole personality.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, they cancelled this.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. I'm Big Ears Batman.
I like how it's just a regular quote, and then I'm big ears Batman.
And I do a voice.
And you do a voice. But like, you don't work it into the quote.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Also, I'm out of quotes. I don't
I
remember
know, but it
anymore.
could have been like you die a hero and then you live long enough to become big ears Batman.
Nope.
But you don't.
No,
you don't
that's
do
true.
that.
That's
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's terrific.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, I think.
I don't think he is cool.
No.
But that's not what it's about. Anyways, Warner Brothers Discovery scrapped it at one point, but Amazon have picked it up because remember, Warner Brothers have cut cost everything.
Yeah.
Victor Zaslav, David Zaslav, whatever his name is, came in and just gutted the whole
Gutted
company.
everything, yeah.
But speaking of, because one of the things that was cancelled among others was Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2, which is an animated, I think it was director DVD or whatever the fuck streaming.
Yeah.
This leaked.
But we didn't. I don't think anybody ever knew this existed.
I think it was on a list of things.
Right.
Scott from NerdSync would know. He's a
He
big
would know,
Scooby-Doo.
But this has been.
He's always Scooby-Dooing.
He is always Scooby-Dooing. In fact, he probably has too much Scooby-Doo material to work with these days.
I agree.
He's probably sweating, being like,
He's poisoned by it.
he's poisoned. That's right. Yeah. So this is
Now, what
just
I
got put
like
up.
about this.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I love leaked media. Big fan, Mason.
Yeah.
When a big company and
Got
whatever.
Caravan of Garbage written all over it.
No,
Leaked media.
we could never do this because it has to be like 20 years old to
Oh,
even
yeah.
attempt to use something like this. And I know they're different departments, and this is a minor animated thing, but it makes me go, maybe we'll get Batgirl. Maybe
Yeah.
Batgirl will leak.
Yes.
Somebody maybe should leak Batgirl. I'm not saying that.
Are you saying I should do it?
Yeah, if you've got it, you
I
should
don't
leak
have it though. That's
No,
the thing.
Okay.
I'm probably it's very unlikely that I would have it. I'm pretty low on the list of people that would get.
You said very unlikely, but not completely
out of the.
implausible.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here's a question for you. And I've thought about this.
Maybe I know about a special character that mentored Batgirl.
Yeah?
Maybe I gave you a little hint earlier in
Did
the
you
podcast.
really?
Yeah.
Was it bigger Joker?
No.
Okay. Was it big ears
It was
Batman?
big ears Batman. Yes. You've got to believe in yourself, Batgirl. I'm big ears Batman.
There it is. I gestured to you to do the...
Firefly doesn't have what you have, which is heart. I'm big ears Batman. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I will quickly do this. There was a set video for Joker 2, and there's bigger Joker running around.
Yes, he's in a sort of grey suit, I think, and he's being pursued by Jokers from his past. 2 other Jokers.
Or it's like one's a thug that works for him or something.
Oh, maybe,
You think it's
yeah.
a mind thing, do you?
Yeah, I think it's in his mind. Because
Great.
one of them has the Joker costume from the end of Joker.
Yeah, but I feel like, he's the kind of guy where somebody would make that.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's in his mind.
People dressed up as fucking Dharma, so this would happen, wouldn't it?
The Dharma Initiative
Yeah, the Dharma Initiative
from Lost.
from Lost. Yeah, that great show.
I think this is in his mind, but you're thinking this is real.
I don't care.
Whoa!
But I'm just saying, I
Yes.
don't know.
Okay.
And you don't know. And you should admit that. Even if you're right, you didn't know, you guessed.
I know.
How would you leak something?
What
If
do
you
you
had
mean?
a copy of something to leak.
Right.
Because I recently did a video on when Wolverine leaked.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
X-Men Origins, which
Uh-huh.
is a fascinating tale. And basically,
Yeah.
it was Rupert Murdoch.
Because these days, like even back then, you could probably get away with it if you were just like, I'll just go to an internet cafe.
You
and I'll
can't
be there
now.
for 8 hours.
Yeah.
But everything's CCTV now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'd have to be like, okay, well, I'd have to.
Because it would be a literal crime.
Yeah.
So you'd have to...
But I have to do this, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so I guess
Okay.
you do USB in a public place and let someone else do it.
But
I
then
also-
they could rate you out.
But you wouldn't you wouldn't give it to them,
You'd give it to your elderly grandmother and they wouldn't know they were committing that
and
crime.
then they would upload Batgirl.
And they would go to jail.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't want someone else to go to jail either.
Hmm.
You know,
I think you'd have to put it on a USB.
I don't feel like a VPN would work. I feel like Warner Brothers
Yeah.
would lean on the company.
And I think you'd have to do like an extremely elaborate, like crisscross the city in different vehicles.
I think that's too elaborate. I think you've got too many moving parts.
Right,
It's like
okay.
that thing where if you're going to commit a murder, you don't ask another person to be involved because then one.
Hey,
of
can I
will-
murder you?
What?
Never mind.
I'm big as Batman. No?
No.
I thought we were just adding it to it.
No, absolutely not. There's an art to it, James. There's an art to saying a thing in a funny voice and then saying, I'm big as Batman. And you, sir, do not have it.
Oh,
you don't
no.
have that it factor. I'm sorry to break it to
That's
you
a
like this.
harsh reality.
Yeah, but I think, better to rip the Band-Aid off now, I think.
Oh, you could have told me after the show. You could have said great joke, and then after
Yeah.
the show, just go, James, I didn't want to take the wind out of your sails and derail the show.
I think it's important you know because when you fall, that's when you can get back up again. I'm big as
he
Batman.
didn't even have that quote. It was Alfred.
He probably said it later.
I don't think he did.
Well, he's big as Batman said
What if Alfred was like, get up, big ears, Batman? Is that fun? Can he do that?
Yeah, because that's his name.
Anyway.
The fact that you don't even know the rules about whether or not Alfred
Well, I was confirming it. I knew that.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
What are we talking about? I forgot.
Doing a murder.
Doing a
Crisscrossing
murder.
across the city.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I would want at least a few passes because otherwise people would be like, they'd pick you up on the CCTV and then track you back to your house.
Yeah,
you know?
fair. Yeah.
So
That's right.
I don't know. We're not experts here.
Maybe if you've dropped I think to stop somebody getting in trouble, you drop multiple USBs in multiple places.
Okay.
So then it's like
and a rando picks it up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So,
Okay.
so it wouldn't land on one person.
But I think
I don't want a rando go to jail. Though.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying as well.
But I think also what would happen there is they would be like, well, even if you found a copy of Batgirl or whatever it is,
yeah,
you shouldn't have put it on the internet. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you know what we could do?
Upload it to YouTube for my YouTube channel.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. What you'd have to do is you have to do that thing, I think. You'd have to put on a hoodie or whatever, and you have to go into a warehouse and then like 50 other people
Yeah.
dressed exactly like you would come out.
I'd go
of the
into a
warehouse.
sports game.
That's right, a
And I'd be
sports
wearing
yeah.
a New York Yankees cap
That's
like
right.
everyone else. And I'd get away with it. All right, I'll do it.
Folks, if you're out there and you've
Leak
thought
something
about
to the
this or you've
internet.
committed a crime, email in, let us
Don't
know.
say you know you did it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We won't rat you out.
We don't do that.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's all right.
It's all right. Ha! Mason, 2 movies in 1 week.
My goodness.
Unbelievable.
What is this, Christmas?
Yeah,
For movies?
for movies, 2
Movie
movies.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Huh.
Mason.
You said you'd get me a present for movie Christmas.
Yeah, I got you 2 movies. These are my movies. I made them both.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
I had a pretty good time at both of these movies.
Well,
the
that's-
highest compliment I can give.
I wanted these to be bad, so I'm sorry that happened to
Oh,
you.
it was a prank on me. For Christmas, your famous
Exactly.
movie Christmas prank Christmas gifts.
I made 6 Scream movies just to make you see this one and be like, fuck, it was bad. These are all me.
Wow.
It's like the ending of Scream where it's like, it was me, I did it.
This
No
is so
spoilers
meta.
yet. No spoilers yet. So
that's-
we'll do Scream 6.
Yep.
And then we'll do 65 Dinosaurs.
Nice.
And then we'll keep going from
65 dinosaurs, there's 65 dinosaurs.
Right. So the budget of Scream 6 was $35 million. But THR says actually. They said actually.
Actually.
They said actually that it was only $33 million budget. So that's
Sounds
something
like
to
somebody
think
swiped $2 million and ran away
about.
with
That's
it,
right.
it
I
seems.
might have got that wrong, but who knows. But the box office returns of this, it is the best opening for a Scream franchise ever. Obviously not adjusted for inflation, but it's $44 million. It's going to take the top spot from Creed.
Movies are back, baby.
And I look at this and I go, we're 6 stories in, but what do you think the story was?
Oh, man. All right. Well, here's the thing. In preparation for this.
Did you watch all the Scream?
I did.
You did. You made it.
And let me tell you this. Yeah, so people may know previously we watched, my first Scream movie was when we watched Scream
3.
1. Yeah, that's right. Scream 1 for a movie commentary. I'd not seen them before that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, what happened was somebody said, can you be on my podcast? And I said, sure. So I blocked out the day. And then they couldn't make it. They had to reschedule because
dream.
one of their kids was sick. They had gastro.
Is this me?
No.
No.
I mean, obviously it's not you because what I appreciate about you, James, is when one of your kids has gastro, you're like, well, just let them sit in a pile of their own vomit and diarrhea over there. We'll do the podcast.
We'll do
we will not
content.
reschedule for any reason. But then I had the data myself, and I'm like, I'll watch Screams 2 through 5.
Wow.
And I'll tell you this.
Quick breakdown.
Yes.
Tell me where you're at with these.
Overall, I thought they were very good.
Where are the highs and lows
They're very
for you?
well constructed. Well,
Considering what it is, especially.
that's true.
How do you make 6 that are at best okay? At worst okay, I should say. Yeah, sorry,
It's
go on.
interesting, right? Well, I think that the very nature of them, I guess, is considering so much of it is about like the characters themselves have to talk about the tropes of horror movies, and slasher movies, and movies in general. They really have to think about the plot and the reveals and who's going to be the murderer this time, etc.
be.
And so I guess
It's interesting that
they are in danger of going up their own bums a bit.
Yeah.
But also I think generally they have to think about it quite carefully.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just enjoy the meta commentary. That being said, I guess they could also go like, they could also reveal that a completely random person is the killer. And if we complain, they'd be like, yeah, but sometimes movies are just bad, actually. So, and sometimes the reveal doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's movies, isn't it? And I'd have to go, well, sometimes that is movies, actually, now that I think about it.
I do. I've always loved how they reflect the era. I think definitely in the first 3. By the 3rd one, it runs out of steam.
Yeah.
think the
The
fourth.
zeitgeist, you might say.
Yeah, I would say
Well,
that.
and speaking of zeitgeists,
Yeah.
as we understand them, the
Kevin
second
Smith is in it?
Well, Kevin Smith is in it, and the second
third
one,
one, yeah.
the second one ends with a full on Scar song at the end. It's all
yeah, that's right. You're right.
So
Isn't the fourth one like a weird era of movies as well?
yeah, it's and how the
And there's only one. It's just that one kind of odd kind of one right in there.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think Scream 3 is the worst.
because you mentioned,
But you kind of have to watch it because
Yeah.
it wraps up the original.
well, you mentioned. I think perhaps last week I asked for recommendations if I only had time to watch a few,
Yeah.
which ones, and you said maybe skip 4.
Mm.
Having watched Scream 6, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's probably more likely that you could skip 3 because there's not a lot from 3 that carries over. But again, you kind of have to watch 3 to wrap up the first the trilogy.
See, here's what I would say. In the spirit of like the new Halloweens,
yeah,
I would say in order to watch, and having watched them all very recently, I would say if you're going into this, you've not seen any of them, I reckon all you really would need to watch is 5.
Yeah.
Scream 5.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
know what happened in Scream 1.
Yep, okay, that's fair.
You really only need...
You don't need to know like every character who's referenced or
but
comes
I think,
back.
But 6 has some characters that come back from 5, and the movie 6 references and sort of calls back to all the previous ones. But I think the middle period ones, like 2 through 4, are probably not as important in the overall.
I think 2 is more so than for reasons we'll talk about.
Right. But anyway, the story is Ghostface is back, and it's
Oh
in the
my
big.
god,
it's in the
how
big
many
city this time.
Ghostfaces this time?
I'm
It's
not gonna tell.
100.
It's not that
It's
many.
100.
No.
It's none.
It's not this time.
Somewhere between none and
The
100.
guy was just making it up this time.
Yeah.
He's like, Ghostface is over there. And they're like, no, he's not. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll make
You
it
got
up.
me. You
Like,
called
got
me out.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy these, and I like these new ones, and I quite enjoyed this. I think I enjoyed the last one more.
Okay.
I think the David Arquette of it all and the Neve Campbell I like, and for various reasons they're not in this
they
one.
are not in this. Yeah, that's
But
right.
I think they've got one more in this iteration, and then they need to give it 10 years because I think you run out of tropes. You run because now they're at
The self-aware movie person in the movie gets tiring, and you're like, I'm sick of this.
Well, like also we're in an era where they go, okay, we're at the end of a trilogy that's a requel. What's next?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't. Those movies don't exist yet.
That's true.
Like the era that the horror is going to evolve into will be 10 years from now.
Ah,
Or who
I
knows?
see.
Maybe it'll be quicker with the way that things kind of move. But so I think you kind of need to step back a bit. Otherwise, it's just it was this guy. No,
Sure.
there's this girl. Whatever. It just
Yeah,
becomes that. I think it needs to be more than that. I really liked the opening twist, which I guess we can talk about in spoilers. The
That's
first
right.
kill. It's. I mean, they've done meta kind of twists on twists with kills before. Like the second movie, there's the kill that happens in the cinema is actually then happens in the cinema because it's like they're watching a movie based on the kill in the first movie, and then a kill happens in the cinema.
Yeah.
And then in this, in the fourth one,
Boy, this weekend I've seen a lot of people get stabbed and like chucked around kitchens, just roughly hurled around kitchens. I think one thing we probably should talk about at some point is like the one thing that this movie I feel doesn't do particularly well is to illustrate like how badly a stab wound will injure you or not injure you, depending on whether, or a gunshot wound.
or who you are.
Who you are, exactly. That's right, yeah.
It's really shot in the head is definitively dead.
Good mnemonic to
Big
remember
as
that.
Batman, but
No, you didn't say that.
who didn't? Mason.
Yes.
But and then in the fourth one, remember the fourth one, the start of that is
Fourth one's kind of a blur to
it's
me,
like
to be honest.
well, the start of that movie, the opening is like a movie within a movie within a movie.
That's
within
right,
a movie,
yeah.
which
Because
is-
the Stab franchise that exists within the Scream franchise has
Yeah.
gone more and more meta.
and this is kind of that again without spoiling it, but much better.
I don't think we're spoiling anything because we're rambling on and on.
Anyway, what do you think about the core four, Mason?
I like him.
Me too.
Yeah, so we've got a kind of a next generation of
Scream Fatales.
oh, very good. Did you think of that just now?
Just then off the top of the
nice, nice.
dome. Biggest Batman.
You wouldn't say that.
This is my iteration of Biggest
I
Batman.
don't like that. I don't like this at all. I think they're good. We got we should look up their names. I think
Sure.
for
Well, we've got the one from Wednesday.
Jenna Ortega.
We got the one from the other thing.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting that the thing that I learned is that the Scream Ghostface is always played by the same guy.
The voice, yes,
Yeah.
it is, yes.
Does he also do the body?
No, I don't believe
Okay,
so.
right,
He's like
okay.
an older guy, yeah.
This one, this isn't a spoiler, but I think that
I hated how 3, the voice could modulate anything, which
right.
is like a now technology.
I see,
It's not a
right.
then technology.
That's true, yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I was going to say, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Jenna Ortega is not Ghostface at any point.
Not a big...
Because, like, she's 3 feet tall.
That's true. I think we are...
And I mean, the costume does a good...
yeah, but you got to be a certain height.
Yeah.
So we got Jenna Ortega, we got Melissa Barrera.
So 2 sisters.
Yeah, we've got 2 sisters. We've got Mason Gooding, and we've got the other twin, where is Jasmine Savoy Brown. Yeah, and that's the core 4. But then we've got others turning up. Obviously, Hayden Panettiere.
They're all on the poster as well. If you're looking for no
Samara
spoilers
Weaving.
or whatever, don't listen to this. But also,
Dermot Mulroney
oh, that's right.
from The Wedding Date.
That's right.
Josh Segarra, who's he's the assistant law guy in She-Hulk.
That's right. I knew I recognized him from somewhere.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, it was nice to see Samara Weaving because obviously they sort of...
And she's Aussie. She's like, I'm Aussie.
As I've learned from watching all the Scream movies this weekend, they like to add in little cameos from kind of horror icons or, people who are known.
Just a famous person.
Just a famous person. And she was in Ready or Not.
And Killer Babysitter movies or whatever. First one's quite good. Second one, not as good. I thought, though, it could have been more New York, baby. I think for a lot of it was like...
What, just because they were in a bodega's not enough for you?
No, it just felt like I want more streets of New York.
Sure,
and I know that's expensive, but they kind of sold this on it like he's in the subway and he's whatever. And there are those moments.
Sure.
But it wasn't...
He's getting a slice.
He's getting a New York slice. And there are... but it didn't...
he's given a New York slice.
That's great. That's
I'm a real scram fatale.
Do you want to say I'm big as Batman after that?
No.
You don't want to say that.
He wouldn't say that. I said that.
Your version wouldn't say that, yeah. But no, I think I don't think that's a cost thing because we saw that when Freddy goes to New York or whatever it was. Jason goes to New York and whatever.
Right.
That one. Yeah.
They should have saved time and carpooled into New York and filmed all the scenes at the same time. It would have saved them a bit of money.
Yeah. I did like that. I know they threatened that this was going to be a more brutal Ghostface, and I think that is true.
Okay.
I think there is people definitely getting thrown around a kitchen a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the stabbings, it's like you still see a stab and
There's
a
a
twist.
twist of the knife,
But it doesn't
literally and metaphorically.
but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. We'll talk about like what is being stabbed in this depends who you are.
Yes,
mostly.
I'm referring back to, and it sort of happens in this as well. In 5, Courtney Cox gets shot through the stomach, and she's just like, "I'll be fine."
Yeah,
and that's kind of a running theme through all of these, where it's like,
I think this one is particularly egregious, though.
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't also care.
Sure, yeah,
because whatever. Yeah, I think all in all, like this is a pretty consistent series. Because I want to lead into spoilers because there's not really much else.
Yeah, I think it looks as. I guess there is a lack of New York stuff, but it does look pretty much like New York, despite the fact that it was filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
The core cast are good. I think there is a fine line, especially for actor name.
Melissa Barrera.
No.
Skeet Ulrich.
Mindy, the actor who plays Mindy.
Jasmine Savoy Brown.
Yes, because there is a fine line between a character who's self-aware about these sort of movies from being sort of endearing to incredibly annoying.
Yeah. Do you think that's why they killed Randy in the second movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great stuff. But no, all in all, this had all the Scream things. And I think, and we'll talk about this in spoilers, in this series, there's kind of one more card you can play.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in spoilers. Anyway, I think if you like these... Yes.
Let me ask you this before we get into spoilers, so no spoilers here. Did you feel like the killer was telegraphed particularly hard? I kind of.
No, I was going in another direction.
Oh, interesting.
Which I wanted, but that was looking back.
Yep.
It's very obvious, but I was so sure that it was somebody else that I missed it.
Interesting.
So yeah, which we'll talk about.
Get into that,
anyway, again, if you like Scream, best movie ever. Yeah. At least watch. I would say 1 and 5.
I think so too. I think they're probably.
But you could watch
essentials.
all of them.
I reckon watch 1.
Yeah.
And then...
and they just write Neve Campbell out. They're just like, she didn't want to do this. She didn't want to get stabbed this time.
Yeah.
And they went,
and fair enough, actually,
yeah.
Yeah. But, actually as well, speaking of that, I feel like it's been a pretty effective changing of the guard in terms of replacing the previous cast with
Absolutely.
the new cast.
Completely agree.
Because obviously it would be less impactful if they just went, you know, it's 4 new people and from the town and whatever, and they don't have any relationship.
Yeah.
But they've added relationships between these characters and the previous generation of characters in a way that I felt quite natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
completely agree. Anyway, best movie ever.
Best movie ever, yeah.
So I guess on the opening,
Yes.
it's Samara weaving, and she gets lured into an alley,
Yes.
and killed by Spider-Man's nemesis.
Yes. Mr. Tony Revolori.
That's right,
Yeah.
who I quite like.
Delightful.
Because he's doing a big scream.
Yeah.
So he goes home and he's like, I've done a big scream, and my roommate and I have done a big scream.
And I'm like, there's no way he's doing the full scream.
You can't
in
do
this
a big
movie.
scream.
Because he's, again, like I said, he's unrelated to the other characters.
Exactly.
So they're not going to let just a guy doing a big scream.
No. Anyway, it turns out then he gets screamed.
He gets
And I
screamed.
liked that aspect of
good.
it. And then it's introduced to this more brutal ghost face. And I was sure,
Yes.
up until the mask came off,
Uh-huh.
that it was going to be Matthew Lillard.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
And that's why I couldn't see all the obvious
Yeah.
reasons why it absolutely should not and was not him.
Well, there's a moment where Quinn, who is the sister's roommate,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, since my brother died, and I'm like, well, it's her brother's Richie from the
Yeah.
previous movie.
Obviously. It makes so much sense. And also they talk about how
and I'm like, you're never going to elaborate? Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, what was your brother's deal?
Yeah,
You know?
that's right.
No
Exactly.
questions?
I think
Okay.
they might have said a car accident because, and they also referenced in Scream 2
Mm-hmm.
that it was in a college, and it's not going to be the boyfriend this time, which I never thought it was going to be, and there's going to be the killers are going to be related to the previous killer, which it was. It's Scream 2 again.
Yes,
and I just completely missed it. And also, but the idea that I thought that it could have been him because he's older, he would have been more brutal. Well, even when you see, and they even do the lineup of these are all the people who did
Yes.
the Scream. And there's a picture of him
And it
there.
says deceased question mark.
And there's also next to him is a much bigger picture of Skeet Ulrich because that's the person that people remember
Yes.
in this universe. They're like, he did the killing and there was another guy.
Yeah, right,
And I could
right.
see how that would have been would have worn on him, and then he comes back to kill the Skeet Ulrich's daughter or whatever.
Yes.
Also, there's very heavily implied subtext, and this is intentional, that they had a relationship, also a romantic relationship, and he did it out of love and whatever. And they also, you see the TV that killed him.
Yes.
Later,
Maybe.
exactly.
I think they're saving it for...
Yeah, I
Scream
think they're
7.
saving it for the next one. And there's also a moment where you see where they literally just dump the TV on somebody at some point, the same TV. There's a conversation about how he supposedly died, he implies that he was alive and all of these things. But I think if you bring back Neve Campbell in the next one, which I think they will do,
Right.
they just need to bite the bullet and give her the money that she deserves for this, quite frankly.
Is that why she's not in this one? 'Cause-
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I mean, I know they say that she doesn't want to get stabbed, but that's not the actual reason.
No, because they're not actually really stabbing her.
No, that's right. Exactly. So I think that would wrap up this iteration of the trilogy and also the previous one.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we talked about this, but Scream 3 was initially going to be he was alive and he was orchestrating all the killings
right.
from a jail cell.
Yeah.
And he was responsible for Scream 2 and
That's
etc.
right.
And they took that out because of Columbine or something, which doesn't really
Right,
make any
yeah.
sense, but okay.
And they replaced it with that guy.
With
Party
that
of
guy.
Five guy.
With that other guy. Yeah.
Who might be from Party of Five.
Or Scrubs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he might not be.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So
He's got a Scott Wolf vibe about him, but
he
he's
definitely
not Scott
does, but he's not Scott Wolf.
He's not Wolf.
Yeah. But I think the idea that it was the dad of the last guy, Richie, was it?
Yes.
Jack
Quaid.
He's from The Boys. Jack Quaid. And there's his siblings. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
But it was okay.
It's interesting the degree I've been thinking in these movies, the degree to which if your relative is revealed to be a murderous serial killer,
The Scream.
that you will snap and just also become a murderous serial killer
Indiscriminately.
You aren't just like, oh my,
Well, it's in the zeitgeist.
yeah, that's absolutely in the zeitgeist. You're not like, oh, my son was revealed to be a murderous serial killer who slashed some people to bits. Well, that's actually bad for me. I think I'll contemplate that for a while and think about how I could have been a better parent. They're like, no, I'll just be a big murderer as well. I simply must get revenge. All three of these people aren't just like, hey, he's up. Maybe let's not all be Screams.
Let's not do it.
But they're like, no, let's all be Screams.
I think if you peel back the layers on the reasoning of why they did it, I guess like in the logic of the Scream universe, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But in terms of the practicality of it, I don't really know because this guy, Dermot Mulroney from The Wedding Date and My Best Friend's Wedding and other wedding-related rom-coms from the 90s.
Absolutely.
He was a cop
Yes.
whose son did some Scream murders and that's not why they wouldn't put him on this case.
That's true.
And he would be, I don't know. I just don't think that any of this.
But do they know? Do the police know that they're related?
Well, I guess not.
Yeah.
Because and there's a moment where you think that the roommate dies, but actually Scream dragged a fake body of somebody else up the stairs, and I guess maybe she kept the body in her room until.
One thing I would like to go if I had more time, but I don't because it's so many hours of movie to go back and rewatch these
and figure out who killed who.
Yeah,
the people have done it. You don't need to do that.
No, I meant.
Like which Scream?
No, like Ghostface.
Yeah.
Did Ghostface kill him? No, I meant go back and rewatch and see when the Scream killers are mugging for the people around them or if they're mugging for the audience.
I had that exact thought,
because in 5, Richie is like in a room by himself watching the stab movies for research, and then I think something happens and you see him be like, oh, I'm surprised at this happening. And it's like, I don't know if you should be surprised. Who are you reacting to? Are you assuming everybody's looking at you all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, for safety purposes, maybe. But there's often, I wonder how much of it you'd watch it and go, oh, this still holds up. Or if you would watch a character who's supposed to be, we don't know they're the killer yet.
Yeah.
And are they reacting to stuff around them, with surprise or just for us?
Well, exactly.
Throw us off the scent.
I think, and I had this thought about the entire concept of wearing a mask in this. If you are going to lure someone in an alley and stab them, you don't need to dress as anything.
That's true.
And I guess the thought is that if they get away, then they don't see you.
Oh, yeah.
But I think often when they go in to do a big murder, they know they're going to do a big murder.
Right.
And they can they all take their masks off at the end anyway.
That's true.
These things are always revealed. So just the idea of wearing that mask in a lot of these situations, like if you go to kill Courtney Cox, you can probably just do it.
Sure.
You don't need to do the mask and the whole thing, you know? Yeah.
But I guess you could also use a gun.
You could also use a gun.
Save a lot of time, honestly.
And that's another reason.
You have to source those weird knives. Yeah. Where do you get them? I've never seen one of those in real life. It's sort of like a filleting knife, but it's not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a fishing knife, maybe. I don't know. It's another reason why I thought it was one of the original Scream killer, one of them, is because it's an old mask.
Right, yeah.
And he's more, again, it's like and it is his mask. Like one of them is wearing his mask.
That's true.
Yeah. I think it is too protective of the characters, though. There's a moment where one of the core 4 gets stabbed 100
so many times. Yeah. And also Melissa, God, I forget
McCarthy.
No, not Melissa McCarthy.
From
Is it
Thor
Melissa
4.
Barrera? Hang on, I'm going to
Yeah, the lead.
Yeah. In the previous one, she stabs Richie like 20 times.
Yeah.
And then, she shoots him in the head, sure. But he wasn't coming back from the stabbings either. But in this, you're right. The one of the core 4 is stabbed 100 times, probably by 2 Scream killers.
2 Screams.
And he's left for dead, and he gets no help from anybody.
Yep.
And he bleeds out while the remaining action takes place, which is probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they're like, oh, it's so sad, everybody's dead. And then the paramedics are like, we got a guy who's not dead. You didn't check on him?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think because there was the complaint that they shouldn't have killed Randy in the second one. I think that has bled over into these modern movies.
Should they have killed Dewey in the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they should have. Yeah. I think it's okay at this point. Even though I think he is like a missing presence because I like him.
Yeah.
That gave that movie, and they even talk about this in the movie.
Yeah, very meta.
They give it weight. Yeah, so yes, Mason. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to have to kill at least one, if not more. I think they'll kill one of the core 4 in the next one.
Okay.
They'll bring back Neve Campbell and they'll bring back Matthew Lillard.
Do you think Neve Campbell will die?
No.
Yeah.
Because I think they'll probably want to do the Jamie, what's her name? She's in the Halloween movies.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis thing. When she's grey and short-haired or whatever.
That's right, yes.
Or living in a weird...
Or grey and long-haired.
Grey and long-haired. That's
super
cool. That's
long hair.
what she did. True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, which one of the core? You know what? I reckon it'll be the one who knows all the lore. Because they killed Randy.
That's true. Well, they're both nephew and niece of the law.
Then that works well, doesn't it? As some sort of parallel.
Yeah. Well, I love parallels. I love parallel thoughts just in the zeitgeist.
How did you feel about Skeet Ulrich as the presence inside our main character's head?
I don't know what they're doing with that de-aging thing anymore, but they need to fix that.
Are they even de-aging him?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They've just given him a 90s boy band wig.
And a thick coat of paint.
Thick coat of paint.
That's a pretty on a reflective surface with a deep fake.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an expensive effect to pull off.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting though because I feel like he in her head seems to be more of a force for good than anything.
Yeah. Well, it's not him. She doesn't know him. She doesn't know him.
That's true. Yeah. You're right.
It's not him at all. So. But
I think it's odd that he's like, "Good on you, slugger. Get out there."
Yeah, she's got like a subconscious.
No, I know, but shouldn't he be evil?
No, because it's like the version that wants her to do murders and survive.
Okay, I guess.
It doesn't want her to die, because if she dies, he dies.
No, I know that, but I feel like he should be... I don't know. I feel like if he's supposed to be the spirit of Billy Loomis in some way, shouldn't he be like, you should kill that guy. You should kill just that rando. What about that?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know.
I think they've leaned too far into like... Well, like it feels like a retconning of that character.
Yeah,
you're like, well, actually, he's all about vigilante justice and getting revenge or whatever.
Yeah,
but he was just a murderer.
But again, that's her.
That's true.
Anyway, Kittredge, what are you doing?
Yes,
the worst psychologist.
I'm scared.
Terrible.
Get out of here, Kittredge.
Get out of here.
Does he have grey hair in real life and they've coloured it in for Mission Impossible, New Mission Impossible?
Oh my goodness.
Or
what's his name?
Have they greyed him out? Henry Czerny. Henry Czerny.
Mission Impossible 1 cast, because I can't spell that because you didn't say it right.
Okay. It's Czerny.
Yeah, he'd be like at least 60. He's greyish.
Okay, right.
Oh, no, he's a bit darker in this one.
Not bad.
I don't know what to make of this. It took me a while to figure out who it was because he had a beard.
Yeah.
So
he looks like James Cameron now.
Yeah. So yeah, he's mostly greyish. Cool stuff, Mason.
Very much so.
Yeah. All in all, Scream away. I like the bit where they did the double knife clean.
Sure.
That was great. Love that. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Second movie.
Yes, please.
Time for 65 dinosaurs. I did count them. It is 65. There are 65 dinosaurs in this movie.
That's terrific.
It's not true.
You're in the cinema. Just everybody shush.
Shut up.
You're making me lose count.
Is that the dinosaur from earlier or is that a different dinosaur?
We'll have different hats on. So
I'm going to say there's 65 dinosaurs.
I'm a liar. I'm a big liar.
Budget of 45 million. Box office probably around 11 million. Not a great opening.
No.
But it could make this back. I feel like there could be enough goodwill in this okay movie.
Interesting.
To carry it.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think they'll probably do better on streaming. I think tell me what the story is.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it.
So anyway, they just lay it out on the table. It's not a trick.
No.
It's not some sort of time thing.
I saw a few articles that are like, Adam Driver revealed the big twist, and it's like, he's like, it's not time travel.
Yeah.
That's in the trailer. I know that.
Okay, so 65 million years ago, humanity didn't exist, but there are human-like aliens out there.
Yep.
One of which is Adam Driver.
Adam Driver is from planet no universal healthcare, so he has to be a space bus driver.
Seems that way,
for frozen people.
That's right.
Well,
maybe he's more like a space Mr. Whippy man.
He might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a particular set
Folks,
of skills.
Mr. Whippy is an ice cream truck in Australia. It's not a
just
sex.
one.
It's not
It's
a sex thing.
It's probably also a sex thing.
It also be a sex thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has to truck some frozen people across the galaxy. Maybe
Going to take him a couple of years.
But I mean, they're alien years.
They have years.
Maybe it's 2 weeks.
Maybe it's one day.
They have kilometers and they have years
and guns.
They have guns. They have guns with a little ammunition counter on the side.
They have backpacks.
Probably an inconvenient place to have an ammunition counter.
They have great haircuts.
They do.
Yeah.
They have balls that blow up.
They have the English language.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's flying his ship through the space, and then he encounters some unexpected asteroids, and they hit the ship, And he crashes the ship into the planet, and he finds a little girl survivor.
Yep.
And they're like, we gotta get to the escape pod. There's escape pods over there. We're gonna get to them.
He says to her, "Do you remember the road? Do you remember the Mandalorian? Do you remember the Last of Us?"
That's right.
This is a situation where I'm a dad and I'm going to get you somewhere.
You're my Grogu. Get it? You're Grogu.
Now jump on.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll do a little run. Anyway, there's dinosaurs though, so you got to watch out for that, don't you?
You do, because it's Earth. Okay.
So before we get into that, so you've been saying to me in the past,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've said it on this podcast, that you don't like the idea that the Jurassic franchise has a lock on dinosaurs in movies. Nobody puts dinosaurs in movies anymore because people are like, oh, it's just Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
and
I know there's knockoffs and whatever. There's Velocipasta and
sure.
Dino
Velocipasta, but it's the other kind of pasta.
And there's Godzilla, etc. And I know there's also wonderful documentaries, etc.
Sure.
But yeah, the idea of like an action dinosaur big budget franchise has been largely unexplored.
That's so true.
Not totally, but for the most part, King Kong, etc. We see bits and pieces of it. But so the idea of this to me is very exciting. I love like the cast of this. I love the concept. I love the aesthetic. I love the way it's shot. I love the way that it's 93 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
But it just doesn't. There's a lot of like these parts they're trying to get together.
It's interesting.
And I feel like I just wish it was great. And it's not great.
Okay.
It's fine. I just wish it was great, Mason.
Would you suggest that it is pretty formulaic, given that even though it is...
That's
well, I was going to say,
fine.
so like... I saw some people on the internet recently that having a big old moan about how can Top Gun Maverick be in the running for best screenplay at the Oscars because it's just a bloody action movie,
because it's the best version of that.
That's what I'm saying, right? So I think there is value in formulaic. If it's an interesting setting, I think you can kind of get away with a fairly formulaic
with Top Gun. I knew exactly what it was and it delivered it like pitch perfectly.
But I think you're absolutely right in the sense that this movie, there were moments in it that were shocking, but nothing about it was surprising. I think it had every like action beat you'd expect from a Mandalorian or just at the road or like at every given moment leading up to the finale. I'm like, well, obviously this is going to happen, and then there's going to be a turn here, and then it's going to come back full circle.
Chekhov's acid blowhole.
Exactly, that's all happening. But I thought, generally speaking, you're right. I like the casting. I like the relationship between the dad and the kid.
It might even be an editing or budgeting situation.
Okay.
Because I think there's some moments where like they relate to them in scenes which I think aren't necessarily in the right order.
Okay.
Like he warms too quickly and then he cools off immediately and then it comes back and then he's like, "You're my daughter." And it's just kind of
right.
And on top of that, and this is probably more of a budgeting thing, it's kind of Dino Light as opposed to Dino Might.
Nice.
That one I wrote down.
Nice, I love that.
And I think also in terms of
You're
like...
a real Dino Fatale.
Thank you. There's moments where, like they're pursued by various dinosaurs or
Phlegm
whatever.
Fatale?
Yeah.
Could you imagine one of those spitting dinosaurs?
Yep.
Yes.
Spits like that.
But I say the Dino Light felt effective.
Yes, but I don't think the scenes in between, because the original Jurassic Park is very Dino-like.
That's true.
But the scenes in between didn't.
But it's also Dynamite.
That's true.
I came up with that.
That's great. But the scenes in between aren't interesting enough. Or it had me going, when's the next thing going to happen?
Right, okay.
And so that I think that maybe they should have had, because so it's Adam Driver and Ariana Greenblatt, who's Little Gamora.
Oh, yeah, right.
I had to look that up. And maybe she doesn't speak English, or whatever the alien version of this is.
Yeah.
Maybe have that.
You're not speaking alien English. Come on. I don't know. My translator's not working.
Alingish. I don't know. Yeah, do you, so there was kind of that disconnect, and I guess there was an idea of, well, they're going to form this bond that's stronger than language.
I'll tell you what I liked, James. I liked the fact that the dinosaurs were scarier than Jurassic Park dinosaurs have been in years.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
I felt like there are just moments where like you'll see a early on, a little dinosaur attacks Adam Driver, and it comes out of nowhere, and he's struggling with this thing. He doesn't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
And it feels so different from, especially the later Jurassic World movies, where people just see little dinosaurs and they're like, whatever, I don't care.
At the end of the last Jurassic World, they're at the Lincoln Monument or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
And Sam Neill's like, shit, there's little dinosaurs here now. I don't think I'll ever get used to this.
Right.
Anyways.
Everybody else has. I'm the only person who hasn't gotten used to it. Those little kids over there, they're used to it. They don't care. It's like seeing pigeons. That little kid's kicking those little dinosaurs. I thought the dinosaurs were effectively scary.
Yes.
In my mind, I felt like the fact that they were sparing was quite effective.
Yes, I understand that, but again, it's the in-between stuff. And I also, there was a moment where I'm like, maybe this movie is missing like the majesty of seeing a dinosaur.
Right.
Because a lot of the best Jurassic Park scenes are, but it's really just the first one, where you see a dinosaur, you go through a big gate and you're experiencing things that you've never experienced before, and there's the terror, but there's a lot of like wonder and awe.
James, there aren't any big gates in 65 million years.
No, I know, I understand
Humanity
that.
hadn't invented them.
The ship, the ship had a big gate.
I guess
on it,
that's
sort
true,
of, didn't
yeah.
it? But then I don't think that's a valid criticism or even relevant to this movie, because the angle here, like you mentioned, is he's never seen anything like this.
Yes.
To him, they're monsters.
Yeah.
And so he's dumped on this planet.
Uh-huh.
He's got no frame of reference for any of this shit. It's just horrible whatevers attacking him. He doesn't, like, for us, if we were in this situation, I mean, we wouldn't survive, obviously, but you'd be like,
I'd survive.
But you'd be like,
I'd thrive if anything. I'd flourish. Oh, that reminds me. In Scream, I'd simply defeat Ghostface. I think. What would happen? I think is he would attack me with the knife.
Yeah.
And I would easily dodge the knife, and then I would counterattack in a way that incapacitates him.
and that would be the first scene of the movie.
Yes, precisely. Yeah.
And then you demask them and say,
That's right. Yeah. I would
"This
simply
isn't-
do that.
You're embarrassing."
Because what I think happens a lot of the time is they incapacitate Ghostface and then they run away because they're scared. And I simply wouldn't be scared or rattled in any way, and I'd just unmask them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the same rule applies to this. I would simply defeat the dinosaurs.
Okay, well, look-
in a debate. In a reasoned debate.
So that's an invitation if you're out there and you're looking for someone to do a big scream on. Mason's probably the perfect target.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so like us or a person from Earth in this universe
Yes.
has an idea of what this is.
Yes.
Even if, well, obviously we've never experienced dinosaurs in real life, you kind of have a rough idea of how something like this might go. This is like a horrible, violent alien situation for him. It's like xenomorphs to him. It's like whatever, Anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, I was going to say, relating to something you said earlier about the development of the character and where, sometimes the kid is his child and sometimes he hates the kid or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I feel like there was no room for character development with the character. It's not like he was a deadbeat dad.
No.
I mean, not to say that it has to go this way, but I feel like perhaps it would have been a more effective character arc if he'd gone into this adventure as kind of a deadbeat dad. He has to do this, or maybe he's away all the time and the kid misses him all the time. And then he learns the value of spending time with the kid. And then at the end, I don't know, he brings the kid with him and new family, something. Yeah, he's got 2 kids or whatever. I don't know. But in this, he's a good dad.
Yeah.
And he just has to take on another kid in this alien environment.
And boy, does he. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's something I like about it. I think aesthetically it's great. I love all the kind of alien-ish designs for things. I mean, it seems like a bunch of like kit-bashed crap, which I love also. It's like with Star Wars, it's like, well, that's a whatever. And, you can definitely see elements. He's wearing a backpack and you're like, that's sort of familiar and yet alien at the same time.
He bought that at Crumpler.
He did. But I think there's also like a really good amount of like
that's a Jan Sport backpack.
There's a good amount of like wetness and
Carhartt backpack.
God,
I don't have any more.
School backpack.
Standard
school backpack.
He's wearing those big bulbous school shoes. He's come from school.
There's a good amount of like wetness and grime in the universe. This is clearly to cut down on budget. I guess this is to cut down on budget. This is all real locations. Seems for the most part. There's obviously some moments where that's not the case, but they're trekking through a real forest.
That's true.
Or it feels like a real cave, even though it wouldn't be. There's like a almost like a heavy kind of mist over everything a lot of the time, which I enjoyed about it.
I mean, it would be a more humid environment back in the day.
And when there's 65 dinosaurs around.
Back in 1965, when
Yeah.
I assume this is set.
I think another point of the mist that I didn't love is there's kind of there's like a showdown at the end, but it felt kind of almost random.
Yeah, okay,
And I think
right.
there should have been maybe a through line of like one particular enemy that he had faced, and it's sort of that, but it's not.
Yeah, right.
Look, we'll do some spoilers. I think it's best movie ever, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Considering who's in it, who directed it, and I
did direct it?
Some of the guys who did some Quiet Place writing. And stuff.
Oh, okay, right. I'm going to say best movie ever as well, but I think I liked it more than you did because I think you had more. I feel like in the weeks leading up to this,
I was pretty hyped.
Yeah, in the weeks leading up to this, you were definitely very hyped, and like
Scott Beck and Brian Woods.
I feel like some weeks we wouldn't do 2 movies, but I think you were so hyped for 65. You're like, we're going to get this in.
No, I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm not sad, Mason. I'm happy.
But I'm also happy that this movie cycle this month has some movies in it that aren't franchise based.
Yeah.
I mean, Scream 6 is obviously, but
Dungeons and Dragons. Another Shazam. Yeah, none of these, Mason.
None of these.
These
That's
are
right.
all non-franchise movies.
All right, one of these is a non-franchise movie. I'm grasping at straws, all right, and it's not doing well.
No, I agree with that. And again, in concept, great.
Yeah.
I'd love to see another one. Don't know if they can.
Yeah.
We'll talk about why. Spoilers.
Yeah.
There's a big comet. It's the comet that wipes out the dinosaurs.
That's right, Halley's Comet.
And he arrives the day before. And I don't think necessary to have that. It's the big comet is coming.
I like that a lot. I thought that was great.
Oh, because it's like, you don't need a reason to leave.
No, that's true.
Because there is a reason. It's a horrible fucking place.
Yeah.
There's big bugs and weird
But
caves.
I love that, again, if you think of this as like a schlocky kind of 80s movie, I felt like that was very, very appropriate. I'm like, yes, that is a perfect ticking clock. Because I feel like...
It could have been a power source. It could have been the ship is coming to pick him up and whatever.
And it's only doing one lap.
It's in one lap.
Couldn't see him.
We had to get to the signal before whatever. I don't fucking know.
The space bus was coming.
Yeah.
The second space bus.
And it makes for a literal explosive finale,
Hell
etc.
yeah.
But no, I don't know. I guess in terms of like schlock, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if it was maybe sillier than even. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just,
More of a swashbuckling adventure.
no, I don't know. I don't even know if that's
right.
true. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, his daughter died. He's from planet no universal healthcare is mentioned. So he has to do a big space mission.
That's right.
And to save his daughter, but she dies regardless. And they reveal that pretty early on. But I don't know whether they maybe should have. They probably should have saved it for a later point.
Yeah, I wondered that as well. I felt even there was a moment there where before that revelation had sort of solidified. I'm like, is this a dream sequence? Is this his fears that she will die?
Yeah.
Because I was like, how is he getting these messages? There was it was quite vague in terms of how long this trip was. It was supposed to take 2 years.
And he's at the halfway point?
But then he organizes an emergency beacon, and then
Someone else is
the
going to
rescue ship is going to be there almost immediately. Where was that ship?
I guess it's like a transport
Space bus.
space
It is-
laneway that
okay,
they're
yeah,
in.
maybe,
I
yeah.
assume.
A splaneway.
Explainway, thank you. And there's a moment where they're in a cave and there's a big dinosaur there and it goes
yes.
boo. And it
Nice.
goes and they run into the cave and then they fight a different dinosaur that goes boo. But before they go in there, he shoots the dinosaur in the eye. And then later
Yes.
they're trying to launch the ship, but it's upside down and they have to fight 2 dinosaurs.
That's
and I was
right.
like, wow, this is the dinosaur from earlier. And it's
Wow, you said.
I said, wow. This is the dinosaur from earlier, and it's bought a mate
That's right.
because they're mates.
Yeah.
Anyway,
His mate's rough as guts. He's even rougher.
They killed those ones.
Then a third dinosaur
And then
shows
it
up.
turns out this other one was the one from earlier.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, I think maybe you could have dedicated time to making this the one, because I liked also it was like a big runny one and it was could run on its front hands and whatever, claws. And then it leads it into an acid pit and it gets sprayed once and that's fine. And then it gets sprayed in the face and it acids its face right off. But even that, like she jumps forward and stabs it with the whatever, like that was all good. And that's why I think I wish they'd have focused on maybe that dinosaur more as like a nemesis. And which is kind of like the Spinosaurus, I guess, in Jurassic Park 3.
Maybe that's why they didn't do it.
Well, then they should have, Mason. So yeah, you know.
I reckon maybe it was a logistical thing. They're like, okay, well, we need one dinosaur to tip the escape pod back around, and we need another dinosaur to do this and that.
Yeah, that
probably
dinosaur-
made sense. Probably made sense in the production side.
I'm sure when they were thinking about it, it made sense at the time.
Also, 3 dinosaurs spookier than 1 dinosaur.
No,
Whoa.
because also they clearly built that model for the daytime.
Right.
As well. So
Yes.
it could be shown in darkness and in light. Whereas the other 2 were like wet and in the rain, which is fine. But why not focus on that one and then a bunch of little dinosaurs
That's true.
and maybe a triceratops?
Because sometimes life doesn't work out that way, James.
I liked how they pulled that dinosaur out of the muck and then it got eaten straight
I like
away.
that too, yeah.
That's a kind of grossness I can get behind. More of that, please. Anyway, can they do a sequel to this? Because the comet hit the Earth and at the end there was a montage of how cities
That's
arrived.
right, yeah.
I thought that was quite a little novel credits sequence.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the what's coming next. It's just like
It should have been, the credit should have ended with modern day Earth and then another one of those Adam Driver's alien spaceships coming down and Adam Driver's in it and he's like, I'm back for revenge. I'm still around because of time dilation, I think.
I lived for 1 million years.
I'm sick of you.
65 million years.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, capitalism fucked him up, didn't it?
That's true. That is undeniable. Or whatever they have in space.
Spapitalism.
Spapitalism.
Which is space capitalism.
Yes.
It felt like that scene.
James, I think the listeners know at this point what we're doing.
What's that? Putting things together.
Yes, that's right.
This could be someone's first portmanteau, Mason. I think also.
Their first what?
Portmanteau.
Okay,
What
sure.
did I say?
I guess that's close enough.
What is it?
Portmanteau. It's
Oh,
got
did I
T.
say portmanteau?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant.
You're thinking of Mando.
I always knew. I just said it wrong twice in a row.
Nice.
Yeah, I think also the scene at the start on the beach felt like an extra bit tacked on.
Yeah, right.
Because
okay.
then I think you could have started with the ship open there.
Right,
As
right,
opposed
right.
to like, your daughter's sick and we don't have healthcare. But if you do this trip, it'll only be 2 years and it's an easy scene to film. You take it to a beach, you change the color of the sky to pink.
It's true, yeah.
It's easy done.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know that was
right.
necessary.
Yeah,
That's
that's right.
information you could have
Could have done that down at Port Fairy.
done at Port Fairy, you could have done at St Kilda Beach.
That's right.
But you could have done that.
Could have done it at Williamstown
Could have done
Beach.
Williamstown Beach. You could. There's the coast of Australia, East Coast in particular.
right.
There's beautiful beaches.
You could do it near the 12 Apostles.
You
And
could.
you could be like, those are alien
And there's only
things,
7 'cause
apostles.
5 of them fell in the water. or
Yeah. But
whatever.
we count things differently on these planets.
Certainly do. Yeah. Yeah, 7 is 12.
That's right, yeah.
But I think that's information that could have been revealed in a better way
Okay.
through like memories and journal logs and messages throughout the movie.
A series of audio logs that he finds over the course of his mission.
Exactly.
That have been scattered throughout the wilderness
Because of the ship
because
crash.
of the ship crash.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You understand me, Mason.
All of the frozen people could have left various audio logs and we could have learned about their lives and their quirks, you know?
We certainly could.
Boy, the food on this ship isn't too good. Plus, I can't eat it because I'm cryogenically frozen.
They didn't freeze my mouth, though. I'm going to run it all day.
In a way, I'm like a bloody frozen dinner, aren't I? Boop.
Hey, Adam. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Put a strawberry in my mouth. Space strawberry.
Nice.
All right. Next segment of the show.
Yeah, it's called What We Reading.
Whoa.
What we going to read?
Whoa.
Yes.
I'm doing the thing. What are we reading today? Mason, it's episode 469.
Nice.
That's right. And this is where we talk about things we're going to watch,
Dinner
read,
for
listen
8.
to, or have.
469s.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
Or 469. Like, how many is that?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Yuck. Okay.
Mason,
Yes.
what's up?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to watch 9 episodes of The Last of Us.
Because we might do a...
We might do a video on it.
Yeah. Now, colleagues, if you're hearing this, you don't have to edit that video or make it an audio YouTube video. You don't have
Terrific.
to worry about that if we do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch 9 because tomorrow I'm also going to watch, which is today, Dungeons and Dragons.
It's not today. Oh, what is it?
It will be, yeah.
Okay, terrific.
Dungeons and Dragons is doing screenings for like one session.
Yeah.
And it's out in 2 weeks. And this is happening the world over, so you might be able to see it.
Yeah.
And apparently, it's great.
People are saying it's pretty
And
good.
who knows what that
Yeah,
means.
right?
But the fact that they screened it this early and they're letting the public see it is a very
They
good
have some
sign.
confidence. As we've mentioned previously on this podcast, the most accurate representation, at least of the movie studio's opinion of a movie, is how early the
they'll show
media
it to
screenings
people.
are. How early the media, how far in advance the media screening is before the general release.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we will be offered tickets to a movie like advance. Here's your media tickets, and it's the day before the general release, or the day of sometimes, and it's like, oh, this movie's bad.
Yeah, and not always. That's not
Yeah.
always the case. Sometimes it's to stop spoilers or whatever. But yeah, and the fact that they're letting like people see it makes me also think that they think it's good at the very least, and that word will get around in the general public because people don't like critics, and I've experienced that. Some people tell me that I'm dumb.
That's why we call ourselves cultural commentators now.
That's right. We're very la-di-da about it. Anyway,
So la-di-da
as two
about it.
people who have watched the original Dungeons & Dragons movie recently for content,
That's right.
oh man, I would love a good version of that because
Be nice, right?
Jesus Christ.
Currently, on Rotten Tomatoes, the most accurate aggregator.
100%.
No, 92% currently.
Oh!
It's gone down. 13 reviews, 92%.
That's still good.
Still fresh.
Yeah, but
Still
I'd take
certified fresh.
I'd take a 50% good Dungeons & Dragons movie, Mason.
That's right. As opposed to a 0.
Yep.
Yeah, terrific.
The other thing is, Claire's been away for the weekend, so I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I've downloaded the Resident Evil 4 demo.
Oh.
Because I hope to get this game if it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I've played it the original, multiple times, including recently I got on the Switch again and went, bow.
Have they modified the
Controls,
for
yes. The whole thing has been rebuilt.
Okay. I mean for the one you played on Switch.
No.
Okay, that's still
I mean,
the
they've
odds.
modified it for modern consoles, but it's still basically the
Okay,
same.
right.
I think you can tweak it, whatever. But so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays. It's the bit where you first go into the village and there's Chainsaw Bagface Man.
Oh, yeah, I remember Chainsaw Joe.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in checking out 2 things I haven't yet this week.
That's exciting,
And
yeah.
then I think next week is Shazam, isn't it?
I think it might be.
And
yeah.
that's also screened and people say it's good. So, but again, early days, etc. We'll see. And
Cinema
so
is
forth.
back, baby.
Cinema is back and it'll never stop. But that's not even true because everything might go to streaming one day, Mason. And that's the dream, to stay at home. Yeah, Shazam's out this week. Shazam 2.
Terrific.
Yeah, I hope so.
We're going to talk about that next week then.
We will. Anything else, or should we move it along?
I'm trying to think of anything I've been watching.
Oh, we gotta recommend a comic Kickstarter thing.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
We nearly forgot.
Friend of the show, Chris, who does a great YouTube channel called Comic Tropes, we've mentioned it before on the podcast.
Love it.
It's like when we sort of half remember an old comic book storyline or a comic book creator of the past or something like that, except
He whole remembers.
he remembers the whole thing and he's got receipts and everything.
Yeah.
It's delightful. I would
It's got some personal anecdotes that also are very relevant. Like you might know a creator involved, or
That's
you'll
right.
interview a creator as well. Yeah.
Yeah. One I would recommend, I might have recommended it before, but I'll recommend it again. It's about the history of the Hobgoblin, which was the successor to the Green Goblin in the Marvel Comics. It was a character who had a secret origin and a secret identity that was going to be revealed in the future, but due to various pieces of office politics and backstabbing, the identity of reveal kept changing and sort of behind the scenes.
Oh, that's fun. I should
Until
watch
it was
this.
like
I'll
the
watch this
last available option that made no sense, and then it got retconned decades later. It's really interesting, so people should check that out. But speaking of Chris from Comic Tropes, he also is an illustrator, a comic book illustrator, and he has a second channel called Pros and Cons, which I don't know if you've watched, but he'll talk about the news of the week, and while he's doing that, he'll be on a tablet or an artboard, and he'll be doing some art. He'll be doing some penciling or inking or something like that. He'll pick a character, maybe it's relevant to the week, maybe it'll be Morbius, who's always relevant, and he'll do some work on that, and that's very interesting. But he's drawn a Vampirella cover. So there's a new Vampirella series coming out. Vampirella, of course, being the kind of the cheesecake lady vampire from the planet of Draculon.
Perfect.
He's done a cover for it, and it is a classic tropey cover in that it's a sort of a Crisis on Infinite Earths Superman holding Supergirl cover, except it's Vampirella being held aloft by a gorilla, because that is the classic.
That's how they used to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a video Chris would have about how the comic book industry discovered that sales went up if they put a gorilla on the cover.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
So he's done exactly that. And so it's part of a Kickstarter campaign. If you want to get that extra special Comic Tropes cover,
I do.
you can follow the link, which is probably in our episode description.
Oh, very good.
You can
It
click to
will be
there.
in there. Thank you
Yeah,
so
nice.
much. So yeah, that's well worth checking out, and just his channels in general. Also, people might find this story fascinating, and I watched it a few weeks back. he was one of the real life superheroes in real
right.
life, put on a costume and go out, and not to beat up people.
Yeah.
But like you do good and like nice things for people.
That's
and,
right.
And help people who are in need and like provide food for the homeless. And he's got some really interesting stories about also the kind of characters that
Yeah.
attracts.
Did he meet that guy? You know,
That
main
guy,
the main
yeah,
guy,
yeah, you
that
should
main,
watch it.
the
It's
one that
really-
gets all the press,
Yes,
that guy, and then it
that
turned
guy.
out he was had some issues. Some
Yes.
serious
There's
issues.
a
And
lot
I'm not talking about issues of a comic book, I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you, it's very odd.
There's a lot of like the people that he talks about like are great and good people, but then there's like maybe there's some racists here too, and et cetera, and you know. Anyway, that's his story, and he has told it, and it's fascinating.
Yeah. So check out that channel. Check out that Kickstarter, I think.
Absolutely, really cool stuff.
Yes.
Mason, I think it's letters time.
It's time for letters.
Ow.
Classic one was who was that? Was that Tim Allen?
That was Big Ears Batman.
No, it wasn't. He wouldn't be surprised in that matter. Don't besmirch. We're going to hear right now. We're going to do letters. The legacy of Big Ears Batman, who I'd forgotten about until you mentioned it moments ago. Anyway, letters are here. If you want to get,
What are you doing with letters?
if you want to get in there with some letters, email us at weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
I do.
Or find us on Twitter, #weeklyplanetpod, and we'll find it.
I think that's
We'll
great.
bloody find it, all right? I'll tell you that much.
It's actually very respectful what you've done there.
very
Mason.
respectful.
And so what we've got here for this week for letters is our letters, and I've got one. Do you have one?
I've got 2.
I've got 3.
No, you don't.
I do.
Good. That's great. I'm very happy for that. It's delightful.
Thank you. I
Why don't
appreciate
you
it.
kick it off?
All right, so this is from Ian Walker, and we got a few people sent this to us. It says Red Dwarf episode confirmed. I'm going to put this in the big news, but nobody actually likes Red Dwarf. It's just us. It's
That's
just
right.
us, isn't it,
Also,
Mason?
this preemptively, this counts as our Red Dwarf
Yeah, that's right.
Our Red Dwarf episode.
But it can only count as one thing. It can't be your one bit of news.
Oh, no.
So that's 2 times, Mason.
Oh, no. I don't actually care, though.
I know
It's
you
not
don't.
important.
Here's the...
I want to see what you veto. Is what I want, really.
You should give me infinite vetoes then.
If I give you infinite vetoes, we have 0 podcasts. Is what happens there? Because you'll be like, "Here's the news," and I'll be like, "Here's a funny." No, it's not. I veto it. We get through the news, and then I'm going to bed.
14-minute show. So this was the official announcement. So do you want to talk about the background of Red Dwarf?
Oh, here comes the Red Dwarf episode. Here we go. Well, so Red Dwarf, the TV series, was created by 2 guys, Rob Grant and Doug Naylor.
Correct.
And they presented themselves sort of through the press as one entity,
Yeah.
as Grant Naylor.
Yeah.
And basically they made the first 6.
It was like Tommy Hilfiger,
like Tommy Hilfiger.
who might be just one guy.
It is just one guy, yeah.
But if he was...
You've picked the worst example.
Okay, I'll give you another example.
Okay.
Britney Spears.
Yes, that's right.
Great.
Brittany and a big pile of spears.
Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow is a woman and then a creature of the
Pack of
sky.
crows.
Yes.
Go
No, just
on.
one.
Just one crow.
Yeah, her name's
You're
not
right.
Sheryl Crows.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Anyway, you pulled through
Morgan
here.
Stanley?
Yes.
Turner Hooch. Anyway, go on, sorry.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, yeah, Red Dwarf. So they created the first, I believe, 6 seasons of the TV series together and 2 novels, and then their partnership broke down in some way. Now, I don't know the details there. I assumed that they just were like, let's go our separate ways.
It seemed that way initially.
But it seems there's some sort of legal issue here.
Yeah. And so one of them,
Yes.
they both wrote separate books.
They did, yeah.
So if you read the original Red Dwarf novel, it separates into 2 timelines.
Yes.
And they take different time dimensional. One's better than the other. But they're both okay from memory. I didn't mind either.
They're
of them from
both.
memory.
Neither of them is as good as the first 2
I
novels.
would agree with that.
Yeah.
And some would also say that the show has never really recovered since they
Some
kind of
might say
parted
that,
ways,
sure.
which I think there has been some good stuff in there since, even the recent stuff.
But
one of them has been involved and one of them hasn't.
Yes, right.
And I thought that was just because one didn't want to do it, but it seems that might be just a legal thing, right?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, go on.
Well, that's all I have.
That's all, yeah. So basically their partnership fell apart.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now Rob Grant and Doug Naylor are delighted to announce that the ongoing dispute over the Red Dwarf rights have been resolved. Moving onwards and upwards, Rob and Doug hope to launch separate iterations of Red Dwarf across various media, working again with the cast and other valued partners, and wish each other the very best. Smoke me a kipper. Red Dwarf will be back for breakfast. Okay, here's the thing.
Yes.
What a fucking wild decision to arrive at.
Right.
Not to make something together.
But
the idea
separately.
I mean, goddamn.
This is like divorced parents asking the cast to their children to pick which one they want to live with. Are they going to go to the core cast and be like, well, we're going to be filming this show on this day.
Yeah.
And the other guy's going to be filming on the same day, so you got to pick one.
Yes.
Are they going to do? Are they?
Well, Danny John Jules,
Who plays Cat? Yes.
he's very active on Twitter, who under this like was just like arguing or just talking to people about the show in general. Like some people are like, I don't think it's very good anymore, and he's like, well, I don't think you're very good or whatever.
Nice.
It's his right to do that.
That is classic Cat.
Yeah, very catty. Yeah. Also, he's probably an old man now, isn't he? Yeah,
Well,
he's 62.
does this mean is this going to be a reboot?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
like,
Live service game?
separate movies. What does this look like?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if this is gonna. I don't know if this is gonna have legs. You know.
Well, it's survived so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would say reboot.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
Or we do.
I hope not. But
What if
maybe,
they?
yeah.
I mean, the fact that the core cast kept doing the series would maybe suggest that they were. If they were on the side of one creator, it's the one that keeps doing the
Maybe
show.
you just want a job. Man.
Maybe you just want the job, yeah.
Yeah, people like it.
I mean, bloody Chris Barry doesn't need the job. He did the British Empire, James.
Did do the British Empire, and he was in at least one Tomb Raider movie.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And Crichton got to do the American reboot.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one guy is going to keep on going with this version and the other guy's going to do a reboot.
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
Maybe they're going to take a crack at another American version.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I hope.
Maybe they've picked turfs. Maybe one guy's like, I'm staying in England, you can go to America.
Well, another guy's like, well, I picked J.K. Rowling if we're picking turfs.
Yeah.
Oh! Now that's catty.
Yeah, that's catty stuff. Nice.
So there you go. That's our Red Dwarf episode.
That's right.
And that will
You're
be
welcome.
That will be the end of it. Someone one day will edit all these together.
If people out there have any ideas of what it might be,
Yeah.
maybe somebody's got some insider information,
actually
or you just
know-
want to guess.
If you actually know, that would be great also.
That would be actually.
But I'm always
way
up
better.
for more. Like, I've watched every single thing. I think I've read all the books.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know a lot of it isn't great, but I will not stop.
Red Dwarf point and click adventure game.
Yep.
I would love that.
Yep.
What else? What else would you love?
Yep. Sorry, my mum just messaged me about Easter.
Video game? Just
Does
said that.
it lend itself? I mean, point and click, maybe.
Yeah.
I just think I just want to see where it goes. Maybe at this point, because they're getting old, maybe you could
Kill 'em all.
Kill them all. Maybe
Yeah.
you could do a reboot, separate timeline reboot, whatever. I know
Like
that
it's
it's probably not a great idea, but
because I'm several seasons behind.
Yeah.
Do they lean into like present day sci-fi tropes?
a
and
little
stuff like
bit,
that?
but not as much.
What if they did like a? I mean, what if they did like a Star Trek Kelvin timeline?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, absolutely.
You get a reboot team.
Yeah.
What you could do is you could have a reboot, like a timeline with a new younger cast.
Yeah.
And you could keep whoever wants to stay on.
Yeah.
And there'd be some sort of time slip incident or a time slide incident.
Sure, yeah,
And
yeah.
then maybe some of the old cast stay on and some of the new cast stay on.
I think it's also the idea that they're still kind of doing the same thing. Like there's definitely points where they change characters, they mature. Like Lister, he has a love interest at point. Rimmer seemingly gets better at times. Crichton's personality evolves and whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're doing that as much anymore. It's just we're stuck in space again.
Yeah.
And I just think it needs to move forward in some way.
Right. Yeah.
Even if it definitively ends. I don't know.
I mean, the thing though is I feel like the first, especially maybe like the first 2 or 3 seasons,
yeah.
it wasn't really about the plot. It was really that kind of
Weird situations.
the weird situation
Yeah.
and the odd, the two odd men out kind of buddy comedy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's I think what a lot of the new stuff is, but it's also weird because they're all 60.
That's true. Yes.
So I don't know, which is why I think maybe that reboot is not a bad idea because you can go back to the basics. Whereas the 60-year-olds are still doing like Lister's eating a vindaloo and having a
wouldn't mind a
lager and
vindaloo right
whatever,
now, too,
and
or
it's Fine. Anyway, what else, Mason?
Okay, here's an email.
I love email.
I know, me too. I love them more than you, I think.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. This is from Anthony.
Yeah.
Hey, James and Meso, and little James if he's still alive. Canonically, he is still alive.
Still alive. We don't know where he is.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a position you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
With a little
I did see him fashioning a little Scream mask.
No.
So, I don't know. You said you'd survive it. What do you care?
It would just be some time out of my day, you know?
That's true.
You know?
What if he gets you at like a stop sign or something?
Maybe.
That would be bad.
Yeah, that
it's
would
like
be
when a
bad.
spider gets into your car.
Yeah. That's right.
Anyway, go on.
You're going to find like an envelope or something and slap him around with it. Anthony says, been a big fan of the channel and podcast for so many years.
Yep.
That you guys usually make my top 10 list of best friends.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Sometimes I wonder why I'm interested in films, but then I realize my father worked as set decorator on films from the mid-90s up until the early teens.
No way.
Such classics as Bad Boys 2, Year One, and my favorite, The Losers.
Oh, my goodness.
Having a peek behind the curtain at a young age sometimes affected the viewing of certain films.
Yeah, I guess it would.
I think this is a hypothetical question, but I think it's interesting. How do you navigate watching a movie for what it is while having the production notes going off in the back of your mind? I guess if you wanted to generalize the question, it would be like, how do you enjoy a movie? For us, I think as well, if we're like being like, I'm breaking this down for plot and I'm breaking this down for continuity errors. And
if it's good, or even if I take the time to switch off and actually focus on something, which is difficult if it's bad, then none of that matters to me. It all kind of disappears. And I just lock into the thing that's happening. But I think maybe, look, I've never worked on a big film set, so I'd imagine it would be different. If I was like a professional editor, or, you know, if I had any discernible skill that related to the making of a movie, I'd probably take me out of it. Yeah, it'd take me out of it. But again, if it's good and I'm kind of locked into it, it doesn't really bother me. But I also don't mind watching a movie and being like, oh, that's interesting, I'll remember that. Or, oh, that bit, that's bad, and I can't wait to talk about why.
I think modern movies, it's a rarity when they're so egregiously bad in terms of set decoration that I'm like...
Yeah.
Like, you remember
It's more like, look at this shit green screen.
Exactly, yeah. Like, when the last one, I think, and I believe it was deliberate. You remember we watched Malignant?
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of... Everything was deliberately kind of...
weird and
unfinished. All the sets were unfinished.
Yeah.
But I think movies these days...
And big. Felt big, weird big rooms.
It did feel like weird big rooms. I think these days because so much of these movies now, it's kind of... They're filmed on sets as opposed to on location now.
Yeah.
That the production design has gotten so good at that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. I agree. So no, I don't really have a problem with it. But I understand why people do. You see that in people with reviews who like have either been doing it for a while or have more film industry experience, and they struggle to appreciate things and whatever. Or that's not even the right word. I don't know. The thing that we were saying.
Yeah.
Mason, this is from Benson Maid, who says, #Weekly Planet Pod. What a month of sequels we've had. Ant-Man, Puss in Boots, Creed, and now Scream, all focused on some sort of legacy/dynasty. But how would you rank them? Who handled the continuation of legacy the best? So Ant-Man, Puss in Boots, Creed, and Scream. I would say Puss in Boots, probably Creed, Scream, Ant-Man.
Okay, well, I haven't seen Puss in Boots.
But that is number one.
Okay, then let's assume it's number one for me.
No, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Ant-Man is at the bottom.
Yep.
I think it's a race. It's a race to the middle for Creed and Scream.
Ooh.
But again, I am new to the Scream franchise.
It's true.
I think just personal taste, I'm going to put Scream above Creed.
Okay.
I just think
But that's not because it's a bad movie. You just enjoy the Screamiverse.
I enjoy the Screamiverse, and I think it's overall. I think they handled the overwhelming meta-ness quite well in a way that it could have. I mean, and that probably explains why they've kept making them.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do the same because I like
they're very decent quality, and
they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be. That's true. Yeah, I think they've handled it very well. So
I agree.
Yeah.
But we can definitively agree that Ant-Man is on the bottom of that list.
Mm-hmm.
What else,
here's an email from Connor.
Yeah.
Hey, lads, love the pod. Long-time listener here from Western Sydney. I've been listening from the day my schoolmate Josh forced me against my will.
Thanks, Josh.
For listening to the podcast. I've since finished school, finished uni, and I've gotten married. My wife Tiff and I are currently enjoying celebrating our 3-year wedding anniversary in your local Melbourne.
Oh, my God, that's where we live.
We are currently enjoying the abundance of cafes, reading comics, and calling out, "Do you know Nick Mason?" at every tram we see.
How's that going?
We're wondering, are there any spots you guys would recommend visiting?
Oh, wow, Mason. I've got so many lists of things.
Go on.
Red Rooster.
Go to Red Rooster, absolutely.
As many as you can get to.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
changed the chicken in the flavour app, which I'm not happy about.
Do you think they don't have Red Rooster in Sydney?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What else do you think?
A Porto chicken.
Oh,
Get
not
on
bad.
A Porto chicken.
Yep. A grilled.
You go to a grill.
I fucking hate grilled.
Wow.
Shit burgers.
I quite like them.
And they
I'll take the sponsorship
and
if
they
you're listening,
take
Grilled.
too long. And they're like, these are kind of healthy. Then why do they, like, at least make them taste
Then
good?
why does this one have a syringe in it?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Ow. Ow.
I love heroin, but not in my burgers.
Right.
Yeah. What else, Mason?
For real? Should we do it from real?
Yeah, okay. Do they do 10 or 12 packs of nuggets at McDonald's? Which one
They do
is it?
10 and 20, James.
Do they?
Yeah. It used to be 9, but they upped
9.
it.
Yeah, when I worked there, it was 9.
Yeah,
I think I've told you this, but I could tell the weight,
Yeah,
how many nuggets were in there by picking it
Wow.
up. Brilliant skill. That nobody
If there was some
needs.
sort of Indiana Jones tomb trap that involved you swapping out a precious idol for a
Nine
an
nuggets
assortment of nuggets. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that, I think.
Because I was there when they changed over from 9 to 10. Did they jack up the price?
Probably.
I'd love to know. I'd love to ask me, but I can't
That's right.
because I don't know.
I think if you went back in time and you asked
You-
teenage you about the price of nuggets, he'd punch you.
Yeah, and not know.
That's right. For real, though, I reckon you should go to ACME, the Australian Centre for the Moving Image. They're doing
Oh, yeah.
They have an exhibition on Marvel costumes right now.
Do
I
they?
think. Yeah.
From the movies.
I think some of it is Thor, Love and Thunder, which is a
You love Thor, Love
I
and
don't.
Thunder.
It's bad, but I'd probably like to have a look at the costumes.
What were you think? What was I thinking of that you loved? Was I thinking of Thor, Love and Thunder?
No, I don't like that movie. I think it's bad.
I'd be thinking of Thor 4, the movie that you
No,
love.
that's the same movie, and I don't love it.
Interesting. I think after that, you could probably go to
we go.
Bridie O'Reilly's.
Nice.
What else? What's good, Mason? What's good in the city? The aquarium. I love the zoo. Sydney's got a great zoo, though. What else?
But probably not our assortment of
Just freaks.
yeah, just freaks and leftovers. Yeah,
What's good in Melbourne? I don't know.
that's a great question.
IMAX.
No, they have that, I think. Yeah,
They could visit the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Oh, no, that's
yeah,
where they're from,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. There's art shows on. You go
Yeah.
to the art museum, there's always a concert. What's it called? The Art Centre.
Yep.
You go to the Palais.
Yeah.
See some live music.
Yeah, that's right.
Coffee culture.
Yeah, that's good.
All of
I think
these
all
things.
those things are good.
You could lend them your copy of Thor 4. They
I
can
don't
watch
have
that
a
at your
copy of it. I don't have a copy of it.
You can boot it up on Disney Plus. I know you've started, so it's probably ready to go.
I haven't started.
If that's the thing you can
So
do.
mad.
All right. Do you have another email?
No, that's all the
I
emails,
got one
James.
more. It's from Johnny Yabes, who says #Weekly Planet Pod. We'll do this now, Mason.
Okay.
But we will do a versus episode. But why not throw this in? Hey, James and Mason, just wondering that Pedro Pascal is the most famous person now. Who would win a fight, Joel Miller or Din Djarin? Joel Miller would murder the Mandalorian.
Do you think so?
Absolutely.
Again, I haven't watched The Last of Us at all yet.
He's just a monster of a man.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if it was for, like, if he had not even good reason. He'd just do it.
How would he do it though?
Just shoot him.
Doesn't that
Under the neck.
doesn't that Mandalorian have a bulletproof suit?
Yeah, he'd get him under the neck.
got one of those
He's
bulletproof
smart, man.
zeitgeists.
He's so smart, and he's got old man strength.
Okay, all right.
And he's like, there's a reason he's alive in that universe. The only reason
Can he fly?
No, but the only
Then he's
reason
going to be dead.
And the only okay, I'm gonna slightly spoil the latest episode.
Of The
right?
Mandalorian?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now for
Oh,
you.
is he incompetent?
It's not a big. Yeah, he's always
Yeah,
incompetent.
no, he
I like
is.
that show, but he's a
Yeah, yeah.
fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Remember the times the Jawas fucked him up? Jawas, embarrassing.
Remember the time? Jars?
Yeah.
I can't open this jar.
How many times has he like just been shot in the armor? He's just like, I'm running into. He's an idiot,
And yet he's lived.
and yet he's lived because he's got plot armor and literal armor, right?
And he's probably got Grogu on him.
So he goes. That's true, but he goes to the mines of Mandalore
Okay.
to dip into the water to replenish himself, and he's wearing his big, heavy Mandalorian armor.
I probably would have taken the armor off.
Well, he can't, can he?
No.
Because he's a fucking idiot. And he steps in and he sinks like a stone 100 feet and he has
Yeah,
to be
that'd happen.
rescued.
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot. He's an idiot. He's a big idiot. And again, I like the show,
Yeah.
but he's a fucking idiot.
He is a big idiot with a flamethrower, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but also Joel...
Is Joel fireproof, is he?
No, but Joel Miller God, he's got such a normal guy name,
Doesn't
doesn't
he, though?
I'm like,
Yeah.
is this someone I know? He'll straight murder somebody like immediately. Like the Mandalorian would like, you want to have a conversation and you can draw fast or whatever, but he's not like a ruthless, relentless, like survivalist killer psycho,
All right.
which Joel is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe my
I
opinion...
know they both have a little person to look after, but no.
Yeah. Who would win between Ellie and Grogu then?
Ellie.
Okay, all right.
I mean, Grogu can sort of do the Force, but
You don't know what's behind Grogu's dead
that's
little
true.
eyes
Probably,
there.
actually, it probably would be him.
Yeah. See, I feel, look, maybe my opinion will change when I watch The Last of Us, but I feel like, he probably has that drive to survive and live, but he doesn't have that wrist thing that shoots out 1,000,000 missiles.
But neither does the Mandalorian sometimes.
Yeah, I guess, when he forgets he has
Joel's also not a guy that you'd immediately attack.
it. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
because he looks like a
He
regular
looks
guy.
like a guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Anyway, he's crazy. You should watch the show, and then you'll know.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a loon, Mason.
Is he more of a loon than he is in the game?
Probably.
Wow.
He probably kills less people.
Huh.
Because in the game you kill like a million people.
100,000 Yeah.
The way he kills and his reasoning for killing is like, it's more impactful, I feel. Though he's yet to hit somebody with a brick, so we'll see.
Yeah, nice.
There's one episode I haven't watched yet.
That's right.
Nice.
And he's been holding that brick the entire season. He keeps throwing it up in the air like it's a baseball. And he's like, one of these days,
Bam, moon.
you
boom.
go and get bricked, baby.
Bricks to the moon.
That's right.
What's up, Mason?
What are you, an old phone? Because you're going to get bricked. What are you, computer and you've put some malware on it? Because you're going to get bricked.
Blue screen of death, and by that I mean brick.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
hit you with a brick.
What are you, old Xbox? Because you're going to
Yeah.
get bricked.
What are you?
By that I mean current Xbox is 2003 or something.
What are you? An unfinished brick wall where there's one space left for a brick? You're gonna get bricked.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Mason, let's wrap up the
Let's
show.
wrap it up, folks. Thank you so much for listening
but
to the
not
podcast.
before we wrap up the show. Sorry, go on.
Wait, what?
Just wrap up the show.
Okay. Just like you're trying to gaslight me. Yeah.
No, Mason. Regular light. I'm shining a beacon
I love that.
to help you get to the
Very nice of you. Folks, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We appreciate it. Thank you for telling your friends about it, because that's how we get new listeners. And thank you for leaving
how
a
we
5-star
know.
review on your podcast catcher of choice. James, you got any reviews there?
Yes, this is from Drugo96, who says, 5 stars, by the way, which you can do in-app, any app that you're listening to. Werewolves in Melbourne. Wasn't sold at first until I realised the 2 hosts were werewolves. Pretty obvious when you know what to listen for, and gives them an interesting perspective on today's agricultural issues if you can get past the fact that there's no new episodes during a full moon.
Oh.
Great point.
Isn't
And
that-
review, I like that one.
That's right.
And this is from Luke Perlberg, who also gave us 5 stars, which automatically means I like this one too.
Oh, yeah.
Best comic
Even
book
more
movie-
than the previous one?
I like them the same.
Interesting.
Best comic book movie podcast out there. Get ready for Red Hot Comic Book Movie News Anima, because these 2 silly boys are shooting it every week.
That sounds too rude, but I'll take it.
Damn, son.
If you want to get into contact with us,
Oh,
you can
Mason.
yes, go on.
Could you
Is this
just
some more
wrap it up?
gaslighting? Yeah, it is. There we go. There we go. Folks, if you want to get into contact with us, you can go to weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com, at Facebook or Twitter at Bandcamp. You can go to the Weekly Planet Pod Discord and Reddit, and also the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group. If you want to have some fun, nice discussions about podcasts and pop culture, they're there for you. Tell you that much.
I agree.
If you want to follow some people on the social medias, first follow our friend Rob Collings, who edits this podcast
How
and puts
does
all
he
sorts of
do
cool stuff in the
it?
show notes and goes the extra mile. You can follow him at Raw Collings
Raw Collings.
on Twitter, and also at The Weekly Planet on Twitter if you want all sorts of Weekly Planet news. If you want to follow me, you can go to Wikipedia Brown on Twitter and Nick Maso on Instagram. James is Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere. I'm going to be appearing on some live shows during the Melbourne International Comedy Festival during the month of April. I'll remember to talk about that next week and maybe put some ticket links in.
Awesome.
I'll talk about that up top next week, maybe.
I like that.
Let's see. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. Chuck in a buck or an amount you would not miss. Or if you're a big spender, go to bigsandwich.co. Sign up for $9 per month. You get bonus podcasts, movie commentaries, early videos, ad-free podcast feed, all sorts of stuff.
Very reasonable.
Having a great time over there.
The Flashpoint Paradox commentary.
That's right.
That was a fun one to do.
I agree.
And movie to watch.
Big wide man.
Big, wide men. Wide faces.
That's right.
Faces wider than their chests.
Mm-hmm.
Superman probably in that. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very well.
Skinny fella. Go on, though.
Let's see. If you want to buy a t-shirt, you can go to tpublic.com, search for The Weekly Planet. Thank you to The Brute and The Basilisk and Rackham for all our musical themes.
I agree.
I believe that's everything.
It is.
Next week, Shazam probably.
Yeah. That's what we're going to watch.
Nice.
And by all accounts, it's good, but will bomb. But both of those things can change.
That is true.
And I hope they do. I hope it's bad and it does extremely well.
That'll teach him. That'll teach everyone. That'll show them, and that'll prove us right probably, somehow. Based on all the contradictory things I've said, just pick one of those. We'll be right somehow.
That's right. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone.
And grab that Jimmy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait. We have a laugh track. I'll never use it, but there you go.
It's all right. I hear it in my head all the time.
Great. All right, let's go. It's still going?
Yeah.
It's still lit up. There we go.
We calibrated it to, how funny everything we say is. So obviously it's going to be long.
That makes sense.
There should be at the end there should be a clip of us going, guys, stop
Come on,
laughing.
we got to get on with the show.
God,
yeah, we got to go home at some point.
That's right.
Oh, speaking of,
Go on.
we should actually wrap up the show.
Oh, mate.